Welcome back to another Reading Reddit video. If you're new here, my name is Sarby. I read Reddit stories for you so that you can enjoy them while you're cooking, cleaning, crocheting, whatever it is you do. And I read these stories live on Twitch with my audience so that if you want to, you can react to the stories with me and potentially be featured in a video. Today, in this over 3-hour long video, I collected the 15 most upvoted Reddit stories for the month of July in the r/Best of Redditor updates subreddit and put them all into one video for you so that you guys can enjoy the best stories chosen by Reddit. As always, I like to throw in the disclaimer that if you consistently watch my channel, there will be a couple of repeat stories, but only 4 of the stories in this video are repeat, and I included a bonus story at the end for you guys, just to make sure you guys are getting as many stories as possible. If you guys want me to keep coming out with these videos and including bonus stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button or that follow button if you're on Spotify. Y'all already know the drill. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. I got a fridge lockbox and it's destroying my relationship. Originally posted to r/relationship advice on August 10th, 2022. Some background: my boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 25 female, have been together for 5 years, lived together for 3. Our relationship was great, truly. We have a joint account we contribute to monthly to handle joint expenses, rent, groceries, etc. Everything else is split. My boyfriend is 6'3", 200 pounds, and works out daily. He eats a lot to keep up his caloric intake, which is fine except for this one issue. We buy snacks, and he always eats my half before I can even get to it. Normal food and ingredients he's fine with, but if it's quickly accessible, I'll never get any. We argue, he apologizes, rinse and repeat. This is literally the only bad thing he's done. Seriously. In all other aspects of our relationship, he's respectful and considerate. Snacks are where all bets are off. Anyways, last week, I lost it after he finished an expensive cheese we had gotten that I really was looking forward to eating. It was all gone after an hour. I lost my shit. I didn't speak to him for a day and ended up ordering a fridge lockbox. After our next snack run, a couple of days later, I divided each snack in half and locked mine in the lockbox. That just sounds so tiring, girl. Like, this man-child is making you do something that just, like, nobody should have to do in a relationship. From his reaction, you'd think I was murdering puppies. He said it was disrespectful and controlling, and how dare I keep food that he paid for from him. When I reminded him my money went into it too, he screamed that he didn't give a fuck and then left. Bro, it's just a bunch of snacks. Like, I couldn't imagine getting this upset over snacks, bro. It really isn't that deep. He slammed the door so hard a picture fell off of the wall and broke. He didn't come back until the next day, but that was to change for work and leave immediately. He came home late and went straight to the guest room. 4 days of this, I broke last night and asked him to please talk about it, and he said that he had nothing to say to me until I got rid of the lockbox. Honestly, I'm completely appalled at this reaction, and I'm genuinely worried he might be on drugs or having a mental break or something. Oh yeah, he's probably on testosterone. Yeah, 6'3", 200 pounds, works out daily. Yeah, he for sure is on testosterone, girl. This is the most irrationally I've ever seen a grown man react. He's ignoring me only to randomly ask if I've gotten rid of the lockbox. I'm not getting rid of the lockbox. We're supposed to renew our lease next week. I'm considering cutting my losses and just leaving. Is this relationship even worth salvaging? Is there anything I can do to resolve this? He is refusing to communicate unless I get rid of the lockbox, which is not happening. I'm just of the firm belief when people show you who they are, believe them. And if they can do it in this aspect of your relationship, they will continue to do this and then also do other really stupid and, like, annoying things similar to this. I just think this is one of those examples where if he's doing this now, who's to say he won't continue to do this? His anger issues are definitely a concern for me, and I seriously think he is on testosterone. If he values the gym that much, I'm guessing his anger is coming from a little bit of supplement help. Girl, just get out of this mess. I think so too. I think at this point, you just cut your losses. Like, I think it even makes it worse that, like, this is a continued issue in their relationship, and he apologizes and then just keeps doing it, and then finally when she sets up something so that he can't keep doing it, he gets this mad. Like, to me, that's telling me that he was just planning on saying, fuck you, I don't care that this annoys you, I'm just going to apologize every single time and keep taking advantage of the fact that, like, you don't really do anything and there's no consequences for me when I keep repeating the cycle of doing the thing that pisses you off. Like, you don't want a partner like that. If you tell someone, hey, this is really important to me that you not do this, you want a partner that goes, okay, maybe I don't get it on the first try. Maybe I mess it up here and there, but I'm gonna make an effort to not do this to make you happy. Believe actions, not words. Yep. Ooh, someone said entitlement is the root of abuse. Abuse isn't a specific checklist of behavior. It's a moral framework where the abusive person feels entitled to the victim. OP checkout, why does he do that? There are free PDFs online, be careful. It's actually such a good point. I don't think it makes sense for me to read this whole comment, but this commenter edited onto their comment, I believe. Wait, do you think he could be on steroids? They cause increase of appetite and mood problems. It can get very dangerous. I think that's what's going on right here. He probably at some point started taking steroids. He's irrationally angry and always hungry. Are his balls shriveling up? I guess that's the next question, you know? Update posted 2 days later on the same post. Boyfriend kept staying out late and refusing to talk, so I tried to talk to my boyfriend about the lockbox again, and I mentioned that I didn't think the lockbox was the real issue, but he was a brick wall, insisting that it's abusive and controlling to deny him food. I kept pushing, asking if he was on drugs or cheating. I said him flipping out over something so small and staying out at all hours was suspicious as hell. I said that I thought he was using the lockbox as an excuse to be out of the house doing something bad. Me saying that unleashed an hours-long screaming tantrum that ultimately resulted in him throwing my MacBook against the wall and shattering it. Honestly, I really thought he was going to hurt me. Yeah. Okay, we were saying get out before. Now it's like, please, for the love of God. So yeah, called my dad, who called the cops. I don't want to get too into the legality of it, but I'm pressing charges for destruction of property. It was a $2,500 laptop. Yeah, them MacBooks ain't cheap, bro. Dad and my godfather moved me out yesterday, and I'm now looking for a new place. I don't have a lot except for clothes and a couple of kitchen appliances. I left the lockbox, but took my snacks with me because fuck him. I left it locked too. That's crazy. We love the pettiness, girl. We love it. XBF has been spamming me. I'd block him, but I feel like I need this for evidence in case his behavior escalates. I texted him the first night that we are done, took our photos down, everything. He began ranting at me. Some gems. Raging about how I still didn't get rid of the lockbox. Asking for stuff he gifted me back. That's dumb and cowardly. Telling me I owe him money and rent for his new place. Beta male activity. That I owe him a car? Question mark? I have no idea why he would say this. I have never even driven his current car. Okay, that's delusional. And finally, that my MacBook was old and worthless and he wouldn't pay for a new one. I bought it last year brand new. Yeah, I think your boyfriend's fucking stupid. Yeah, you guys are saying it in chat. This is genuinely horrifying over some snacks. Like, how much of a baby back bitch do you have to be throwing this much of a tantrum over some fucking snacks? Get over it. I've literally never seen more loser activity. After about an hour, I guess he realized that we were actually broken up and he couldn't bitch me down anymore. Then came the paragraphs about how he was gonna marry me. He loves me. He wants to be better for me. That I can keep the gifts and he'll buy me a better MacBook. He freaked out over seeing I took our pictures down from social media. He then started sending me screenshots of his Google searches of engagement rings and telling me to pick one. He also sent a couple of voice messages of him just sobbing. Oh, that's so pathetic. Oh my God. The more OP supplies, the more I'm like, yeah, he's totally on drugs. He's taking steroids for sure. Any respect I had for him as a person is just completely gone. I want nothing to do with this man. I don't care if he's having a breakdown or on something. He's not my problem. I screenshotted his messages and forwarded them to... I screenshotted his messages and forwarded them to his mother. She can deal with her son. That's the most I'll ever do for him again. Normalize that. That's incredible. Hey, look at your bitch ass son, bro. This guy's a fucking loser. As for me, I'll be okay. I have some savings, so taking on full rent for a place as well as deposit and fees won't be too much. This has been a weird week. I feel like I should be sad, but like I said, I lost all respect and don't feel anything but disdain for him. My parents have been buying me my favorite comfort snacks and being super supportive. Hey, at least you don't have to worry about your fuck ass boyfriend stealing those comfort snacks. They're gently pushing for therapy. I agree. And I think it's probably a good idea. I'll start my search once I'm settled in a new place. Yeah, okay. A lot of these comments are kind of on the wavelength of what I was thinking of, like, is OP safe? Like, I'm genuinely concerned for her safety after hearing about this fuck ass. I hate to say it, but he just doesn't sound like a guy who's just gonna let go of this situation. Not you guys saying text him pictures of your snacks he'll never have. That's crazy. That's wild. You just reply to the voice messages of him sobbing a video of you eating your snacks. Did she make a police report? I think she did. But like, I'm guessing he's not gonna stay in jail for breaking a MacBook. Like, he probably got out on bail or something. Yeah, the mood swings is a very clear sign of mental psychological issues. I think so too. There's some hanky-panky going on. Reading these kinds of stories just makes me like feel better as a boyfriend. Like, sometimes I ask my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, am I like being present enough for you? Am I giving you everything that you need? And then I read stories like this and I'm like, okay, could be so much worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I might not be perfect, but I'm doing okay. You know? The bar is subterranean, but you're doing great. Thanks, I appreciate that. My future in-laws are upset because my autistic nephews aren't invited to the wedding and my fiance won't even defend me. Okay, we have a 24 female OP, 36 male fiance, 6 male, 10 male, 13 male, and 17 male autistic nephews. Original post December 19th, 2014. Really quickly, I wanted to remind you guys that I do live stream these reads over on Twitch. If you guys would like to be a part of that and potentially be featured in the video, go over to my Twitch, linked in the description. Okay, back to the story. To start out, I really love my future nephews and their disabilities don't have any effect on that. They are severely autistic and the two oldest ones are extremely violent. In parentheses, hitting, kicking, spitting, scratching, and pushing. Okay, I understand why you wouldn't want that at your wedding. And the 17-year-old also has several inappropriate sexual behaviors that he exhibits regularly. Yeah, okay. Me personally, I understand. The two youngest ones are fairly low functioning and can't really speak, but can be fairly disruptive when they are overstimulated. The biggest problem comes in when the oldest two have meltdowns, in parentheses, caused by overstimulation in large groups of people, especially strangers, or when their schedule is disrupted. During my time around these two boys, I've been kicked, punched, shoved, spat, in parentheses, not drooled on, head-butted, and bitten. In parentheses, I had to go to the hospital to get it checked out. This was especially more common in the beginning of mine and my fiance's relationship because I was a stranger to the boys. It's decreased a little over time, but it still happens and I'm pretty small, around 5'2", 100 pounds, and they're pretty big. So when it happens, it knocks the wind out of me pretty badly. The 17-year-old has also started noticing his sexual feelings and has began taking them out on women anywhere near him, including me. He walks up and kisses women in the lips or grabs their butts or their breasts, and he's even tried to stick his hand down my pants before and take his clothes off and masturbates whenever he feels like it. I'm sorry. If I tell someone, hey, I don't want the risk of that happening at my wedding, and they get upset at me, what the fuck is wrong with them? I've asked his parents and grandparents, the people they live with who will take care of them, if there's anything they can do or say to maybe encourage them not to do those things, and it just resulted in me being hated and yelled at for being insensitive to their issues and expecting them to know better when I know that they don't. Oh, okay, so they're just kind of like letting it happen and not at least trying to communicate to them that that's not something you should be doing. I've thought about trying to get them to stop using some methods that I read about, but I didn't want to make it any worse because I know that if I tried anything, it would result in more yelling and being berated and told that at least I don't have to deal with it every day. Yeah, you guys are saying it. They're enabling him. Like, I'm more mad at the fucking parents and grandparents. Also, kind of curious, what is your fiance saying about all this shit? Surely he's standing up and being like, hey, I don't want this shit to happen to my fiance, right? I was being a little sarcastic because we know where this is going. Since we know what causes the boys to have meltdowns, my fiance and I decided to have a child-free wedding as to not specifically exclude the boys. When my future brother-in-law heard about the no kids rule, he immediately jumped on the defense and demanded that the boys be invited because normal kids will get to experience other weddings. They won't. When I tried explaining to him that it wasn't for just the boys, he wasn't having it. Then I tried explaining that the safety of the boys, in parentheses, I don't want them to be too overwhelmed and the venue isn't child-friendly, and the guests at the wedding, about 350 people, ugh, holy shit, that's huge, was very important to me. I got berated and told how horrible and insensitive and evil of a person I was. They're threatening to not come to the wedding and have already started posting the passive-aggressive stuff on Facebook about the favorite auntie who thinks their autistic nephews are a burden because they aren't perfect. Now my fiance wants to allow them to come. I mean, girl, come on. Now my fiance wants to allow them to come, but not any other children, and he seems totally unconcerned about the guests who will be there, or even me for that matter. I'm honestly just thinking about calling off the wedding and possibly even my relationship with my fiance, as he never stands up for me and sometimes even joins in with telling me to just accept the things that come with the disease, no matter how bad they are. Girl, listen to your gut. Oh my God, please, please, I'm begging you, bro. This is your whole life, girl. You are in a unique time in your life where you're realizing that you're in a fucked up situation. Listen to that voice telling you that, girl? This is fucking weird. Not only him and his family, but the fact that he's fucking 34. Maybe 36? 36! Like, oh, that probably means they were dating when she was like 20, bro. Assuming that they dated for a long time. I don't know how much more I can deal with this situation as a whole, dealing with his family. I know this all sounds terrible on my end. It really doesn't. Like, call me fucking crazy, but I get it. Like, I feel like you can love people who have severe autism while also setting a boundary for yourself of like, okay, on my special day, I foresee an issue with them being there, and I don't want to have to deal with that on the most stressful day of my life without that even being factored in. And I think because you're in this situation with these fucking awful people, you feel bad about feeling this way because they're gaslighting you. I know this all sounds terrible on my end, and I honestly feel bad for feeling this way because I know that they can't help it, and I feel bad for my future brother-in-law slash sister-in-law slash mother-in-law slash father-in-law because I know that they are under tons of constant stress and don't really have many places to turn besides each other, but I really can't deal with this for the rest of my life. Am I wrong and insensitive in this situation, and is ending my relationship with my fiance and his family too drastic a measure for this problem? No. Girl, if anything, I don't think this is drastic enough. Like, I'm like, where's OP's family in this, bro? I feel so bad. It sounds like OP is just gaslit into oblivion right now. Holy shit. Yeah, she's not wrong for wanting her wedding to be about her. Exactly. These parents are actually being very ableist themselves because they refuse to teach their kids what is and isn't okay just because they're autistic. I think that is the core of it. That is the core of the situation in general. There's also just the fact that, like, I think this family as a whole knows that they can manipulate OP. Like, that's why the fiance is with her, is because she's young, impressionable, naive, and probably just defaults to whatever the older man has to say. And then now the whole family's fucking jumping in. Relevant comments here. First commenter, why on earth is your fiance not backing you up here? OP replies, he thinks that I'm wrong to feel the way I do because the boys can't help their disorders, and he thinks that I should get over it and not bother his brother and sister-in-law with it when there's nothing they can do about it anyways. And he's thrown out the you chose to be a part of my family thing, which is true, so he usually joins in on their side instead of mine. Okay, but like, they're also bringing you into the family, so like, what you want and need out of the relationship is equally as important. Like, this seems very one-sided. It's like, oh, well, you just have to put up with all of our shit instead of us trying to handle our shit so it doesn't affect you negatively. Okay, OOP added some info on the kids, specifically explaining the brother-in-law having 3 autistic children. The 17-year-old is their biological child, and the other 3 were adopted as babies. I should have added this earlier, but all of the adopted boys have other issues that were known at birth, which is how they ended up having 4 special needs children. I'm not exactly sure what those other disabilities are though, as they mainly just tell me it's their autism when problems arise. Last question, are they in therapy? As far as I know, they are not in therapy, and I'm not sure if they've even checked out therapy or support groups. I once tried to suggest that maybe therapy would be a good thing to try out, and I got my head bitten off for telling them how to parent their kids and speaking on something I have no idea about. Then my fiance laid into me too, so all in all, they value anything I say on the situation as pretty much worthless, and they definitely aren't open to therapy. Bless their soul that they were willing to take in 3 adopted special needs kids, but they just sound like the absolute worst people to be taking in 3 plus having their own special needs children. Am I crazy for saying, like, if you have children that have as severe autism as they do, they should just be in therapy? Blanket statement? Yeah, it's definitely abuse and neglect. That's how I feel too, bro. Like, you're not even giving these kids a fair shot at like being able to live as much of a like normal life as they possibly could, because you're enabling all the bad behaviors and just excusing it rather than trying to course correct and give them all the tools that they can have to like live a better life where they're not sexually assaulting people or causing harm to other people. It almost seems like a savior complex on the parents' part. Anti-ableist, I think you're cooking. I'm sure that's a majority of what it is. Like, it probably also does feel good for them to be like, oh, we just like put up with it and we deal with all these different things because we're just so good. We gotta wrap it up, y'all. Let's see it. Please tell me she calls off the wedding, please. Update, December 26, 2014, 1 week later. The day after I made the post, I basically already had my mind made up to leave my fiance. In parentheses, I'd been thinking about it longer than I'd like to admit, but I decided to wait until the holidays were over so that the break wouldn't be as messy. Wait, so you like bought everybody presents and then you're gonna fucking dip? Me personally, I'm saving a little bit of money. Well, I guess maybe the presents were already bought by that point. Okay. We were discussing Christmas plans, and I told him that I would prefer to go to my family's house this year because I knew that if I joined his family, his brother slash sister-in-law and their boys would be there, and I'd rather not disturb the boy's schedule or get yelled at by his family anymore. My fiance flipped his shit and began yelling at me for being selfish and thinking only of myself. God forbid she wants to fucking spend a Christmas with her family. I even told him why again, and he still kept yelling, all while name calling, and I lost it and started yelling too, and told him that I might want to spend time with his family if I wasn't abused and forced against a wall every time I was near them. Apparently, this was the most shocking news ever to him, and he couldn't believe that I felt that way. When he finally asked how I was being abused, I told him about all the things his family does and says to me, in parentheses, even though usually while he's present, and maybe I shouldn't have. But I also told him that I didn't want to be hit slash kicked slash spat on slash groped by the boys for at least this one day. He somehow had no idea that I wasn't okay with this. Fellas, is it gay as a 36-year-old man not to know that your wife doesn't want to be groped slash kicked slash bitten slash spat on? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Come on, bro. You're 36. You were not born yesterday. The fuck are you talking about? He somehow had no idea that I wasn't okay with this despite the fact that he witnesses it and I tell him every time it happens. Yeah, okay, so he's fucking dumb. He called me an awful see you next Tuesday for blaming them for doing things that they don't know aren't okay slash that go along with their disabilities. And having no sympathy for selfless people in a physically slash emotionally tough situation, which isn't at all what came out of my mouth in any way, shape, or form, in parentheses, and he knows that I know that the boys can't help it and that I've expressed both sympathy and understanding for his brother slash sister-in-law. Ladies and gentlemen, what you get when you date a 36-year-old man as a 24-year-old. There might be a reason why he's going after younger women and not women his own age. This is why. He's a fucking idiot. He left very soon after that, and immediately the phone calls and messages started coming in from his family. That's so fucking pathetic, bro. I can't even count how many worthless slash useless slash selfish slash evil slash pathetic bitches slash whores and see you next Tuesdays I was called. Then they even took it to Facebook and fabricated the story completely and twisted just about every word. Y'all, like, shoot me. If I ever get in, like, a disagreement with my partner and their first reaction is to sick their family on me, just take me out back, fucking old yeller my ass, because I just don't want to be here. My fiance came back the next day and apologized for the night before and asked if I was ready to suck it up and get over myself and just go to his family's house for Christmas. I stuck to my guns and told him that there was no way I was going back there and that I was spending the holidays with my family, whether he was going or not. And we got into another fight, in parentheses, solely about our relationship this time. And I told him about all of his selfishness, immaturity, in parentheses, in everything, disrespect, in parentheses, lying, name calling, purposely doing slash saying things I'd asked him not to do, whininess whenever I wanted to go out with friends or family or have time by myself. He would pout and moan and groan and whine and call a billion times asking when I'd be home, and his total lack of balls when it came to defending me ever. What a beta male of a man. I'm sorry, bro, if you can't handle your girl just like going out and doing shit and you're gonna fucking pout, moan, groan, whine, and call a billion times, like, you're just a bitch. We went back and forth for quite a while, and at one point I was finally done and kicked him out. In parentheses, it was my house to begin with. Damn, bro's 36 and the 24-year-old is the one with the house. I have to know what he did for work. Please tell me you're gonna tell us. Kicked him out and told him that our relationship was over. Even after all of that, it was hard to leave him, and I will still sort of miss him at times, but it felt like the biggest weight in the world had been lifted off of my shoulders, and for the first time in the 4.5 years we'd been together, I felt like a free person. I feel bad for his family though, and especially the boys. You should not feel bad at all for the family. I agree with the boys, but you should feel bad for the boys because they have the worst parents ever, and especially the boys knowing what they have to go through. But I had to get out as it was only adding extra unneeded stress and hurt to everyone. It's still a mess right now with him having to come back and forth and get his belongings and canceling everything for the wedding, but I'm happy that it's over now and that I can move on and not feel completely awful about myself 24/7, even though my heart is still a little broken. Oh, I mean, this was fucking, what, 12 years ago? OP, I hope you're doing so much better. I hope you've healed. I hope you've come to realize how fucked up this family was. And I hope you found yourself not a fucking 36-year-old man trying to take advantage of a 24-year-old. Oh, please, anybody listening to this right now, if that's your situation, you gotta audit it, bro. I'm not saying that there can't be outlier situations where it works and whatever not, because, like, I feel like people do get mad every once in a while because that's their situation. situation and they at least think that it's healthy, or maybe it is healthy. Well, girl, I would venture to guess 99% of the time that is just not healthy. The girl is now 36. That's crazy. Oh my God. They got together when she was 20. Oh my God, you're totally right, because it was 4.5 years. So he was 32 and she was 20. Like, that's just fucking icky, bro. I'm sorry if that's your situation and you think that's fine. I think that's gross. I don't think you should do that. If you're 32 and you really want to date down, find yourself like a 25, 26-year-old. Please, at least draw the line there. Please. He knew what he was doing. I'm sure he did, bro. Oh, where were her parents? I feel like if you're a parent and your kid's like, hey, I'm 20 and I'm dating a 32-year-old, you should be like, let's... Oh, I'm sure those parents celebrated that Christmas she dumped his ass. I hope so, man. I need to have faith that that's what happened, man. I'm 32 and the thought of dating a 20-year-old, no. I mean, I'm 28 and the thought of dating a 20-year-old, I'm like, ugh. Shout out my cougar girlfriend. She's a year older than me. My friend posted my work on her social media, claiming it as her own. We have a 22 female OP and a 32 female friend. Original post, April 18th, 2016. A bit of background. I graduated from cosmetology school in a different state than I currently reside. When I moved here, I needed more hours to get licensed in my current state. So I returned to school and instantly made friends with a girl who I will be referring to as Mindy. At my last week of school before I graduated, I was running a bit late in the morning and forgot my phone at home in my rush, which really sucked because I know I had a girl coming in who wanted a big change and I wanted to take before and after pictures. But Mindy was there that day and I asked her if she could take the pictures for me and send them to me. She accepted and I thought that was that. A few weeks went by and I never got the pictures despite me asking for them, and I never got any response from her. Now it becomes a bit more pressing. I'm applying to jobs and I'm putting together a portfolio of all my work. Again, I ask if she can send me the pictures so I can put it in there. This time, she apologizes profusely for not getting them to me sooner and says that she will send them. 2 days later, still no pictures. Bringing us to today. I ask her again for them, in parentheses, nicely, mind you, and I don't get a response. I figure that she is super busy at her job and can't get back to me right away. Okay, but sending pictures takes not that long. I guess it is 2016, so a little bit longer than we are currently accustomed to, but still not that long. But as I am looking through my Instagram, I see that she made a post of the before and after pictures of my client with the caption saying, check out this rocking haircut that I did. Come see me for all your hair needs. When I saw this, I was fucking livid. This girl was one of my first friends at my new beauty school, and now she's taking credit for the work that I did. My question is, how do I approach her about this? And how can I ask her to delete the post from her Instagram page? Do I need to confront her face to face and make sure she does it? Chat, I have no idea how cosmetology works. Is this like a license revoke offense? To me, this is false advertising, right? So like if you're licensed for something and you false advertise about it and you can get evidence, aka OP going to the person whose hair they cut and just being like, hey, someone's trying to take credit for this. Could you give me a written statement or like confirm this if they ask that like I gave you the haircut and this bitch is lying? Like, I feel like, is that not something you can do there? Yeah, you guys are saying it like it's fraud. Ooh, I don't know if the licensing is that strict, but I imagine the school would kick her out. Oh yeah. Well, I think they already graduated, or at least OP did. Report the Insta post for fraud, maybe. There's no way that they would actually do anything about it. In 2016, Insta doesn't do shit for shit about anything in 2026. There's no way in 2016 were they on their shit about that. Instagram would genuinely not care. At least do a call out and get the client to confirm that they're willing. I mean, here's what I would do, y'all. I think you got to take the professional route, not the social media route. Because if she really wanted to, she can just block OP and block the client whose hair she did. And then at that point, like, there's no evidence. And like, this is before people could make a TikTok about this shit and it would go insanely viral and people would like get up all in arms about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's any social ramifications that can be done here back in 2016. If this is present day, absolutely, 100%. Like, y'all see that streamer girl who had a crying fit over not being able to get her hair cut because she showed up super late to her hair appointment? Just shit like that, where you can make that and then people can be like, actually, bro, not how it was. Like, I think there was just less of that in 2016. me. Nowadays, you could probably do it. It's definitely worth a try. Like, I definitely recommend OP at least take some screenshots, have some evidence of this. I think the professional route is reach out to the licensing, see if there's anything that they can do, because I know you have to be a licensed cosmetologist. Maybe they could get that revoked. I would go to the salon that she works at and be like, hey, here's a screenshot of one of your workers stealing my work, and here is like the client saying, hey, this is not her work, this is OP's. What are you gonna do about it? And if they don't do anything about it, then maybe you could like write reviews, or I don't know. I do have to say, I think there is a world where OP loses here. I think all you can maybe do is screenshot the post so that you have your photos finally. You post them and just call it out. Like, hey, this is a haircut I did for at this person, and this girl that I called a friend at her stole the photos, claimed the work, and is trying to get clients off this. This is not her. In the comments, you will see a confirmation comment from my actual client whose hair I did. Please come to me, not to this dumb bitch. And that's really all you can do sometimes. Like, you can't control if the salon's gonna do anything about it. You can't control if cosmetology licensing people, I don't know what that's called. I'm sorry, sue me. I've never looked into it. I've never needed to look into it a day in my life. The great gods of cosmetology licensing. If they don't do anything about it, there's nothing you can do about it, you know? All you can do is like, I guess now you have the photos, right? Like, steal them and deal them, baby. Or I guess not even steal. Take them back and post them yourself. I don't know. Hopefully this is going to, I told the cosmetology board and they absolutely clapped her shit. We have a couple of relevant comments. When told to take screenshots and inform the school, OP replies, thank you for this. Screenshots have been taken off both her Instagram post and the messages back and forth between us. I plan on going into the school and hopefully getting this figured out. Maybe they can provide me with some sort of proof. Also, I should add that the client just started at the school right after I did her hair, so she'll be at the school to help me out with this. Okay, big fat W. When told to contact Instagram and have it removed, I'm going to report the photo so that she doesn't have the chance to take it down herself. It's much more satisfying this way. I would be shocked if Instagram actually did anything about that. Also, my client has an Instagram and I will get in contact with her about reporting the picture as well. Either way, the school will be contacted and I hope they can help me out. Yeah, I think the school is the only route here that is gonna get you proper justice. Okay, we got this update as well as a couple of edits here. Update coming in April 19th, 2016, the next day. I wanted to thank everyone for the replies and advice, especially the dude that told me to do another haircut. It's not like I found a cure for cancer. This one's for you, buddy. Yeah, count on a dude to say that shit. On to the update. So I went to school to see if they could help me. I went to the academy director and the director of admissions, and they were so helpful. They told me they were on my side because they aren't huge fans of Mindy, and this isn't the first time they've dealt with this. I showed them the Instagram post and they got to work. They checked the schedule the day that I did the haircut and also checked the client ticket. The schedule showed that I was the one scheduled to do the haircut, and Mindy was working behind the front desk that day. And people behind the desk are not allowed to take clients. And the client ticket specifically said that I was the one performing the service. Next, we called my client, in parentheses, a new student at the school, to the office to let her in on this. I also showed her the post and she seemed quite peeved at it. So she was on my side as well. I took some of your advice and asked if she could write a release of sorts to say that Mindy did not have the authorization to put the pictures on social media. She, however, wrote that I was allowed to use the photos in my portfolio if I wished. So both directors got in contact with Mindy and showed her the letter written by my client. Luckily, Mindy is none too smart and got scared that some sort of legal action would be used against her and apologized profusely. She didn't apologize to me, of course. She was only remorseful because she got caught. Lovely. In any case, the picture was taken off of Instagram not 2 minutes later, and the original photos were sent to the director of admissions who sent them to me. The directors are apologizing to me for the whole fiasco and offered me a free service of my choice, so I'm going in today and getting me a massage. So yeah, everything worked out in the end. Okay, but is Mindy getting fucking kicked to the curb? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick to the school because they did the right thing here, but like, hey man, if Mindy's been doing this shit, you should have kicked her out way before this. Like, why are we just running with it, bro? I think we've got to show Mindy the shape of Italy and give her the boot, you know? Okay, a couple edits here. Edit 1, I want to add really quickly that the directors at the school will be talking with Mindy's boss. Oh, I'm confused. I don't understand how cosmetology schools work. Is she still a student? Is she not a student? Is there a world where you're kind of both? Can the directors of the school not fire Mindy or kick her out? I'm not gonna lie to y'all, not that they're doing it wrong, but cosmetology school confuses me. I don't understand it. Like, they're working, but they're not working, but then they're also having to be the clients, which is also crazy. Like, listen, I love my hair. Y'all know that shit. Like, looks good. I don't want somebody learning how to do hair doing my hair, me personally. That might be selfish of me, chat, but I feel like I can be selfish here. I can't imagine being like, I want to learn how to do hair. And then they're like, okay, but part of that is you let someone else who wants to learn how to do hair, do your hair. I'm like, that's crazy. I guess it might also be like an option for them that they can allow for that. It's usually really cheap though, like super cheap. That scares me even more, if anything. Sorry, chat, you're talking to the guy who pays like 40 bucks for his haircut. Like most guys gawk at 20. I'm like, 40 plus generous tip for my girl Jordan. Shout out Jordan, she flicks me up every time. Genuinely, chat, I find one person who can like do my haircut well and I just stick with them ruthlessly. Edit 2, massage was the bomb diggity. Directors called Mindy's boss while I was getting the massage. Mindy's boss will be having a few serious words with her today. Boss will then tell the directors who will tell me what happened. The suspense is killing me. Edit 3, I just got off the phone with the Academy director. Thank you to user Zuugma Kerfuffle. That first part sounds like a Ligma joke. Zuigma these nuts in your mouth? Okay, for putting it so eloquently. My justice boner couldn't be any harder right now. Fucking Mindy has been fired. Her boss asked her to grab her things and leave because plagiarism is absolutely not tolerated at her work. The moral of the story here is don't be a dick. I mean, not even just a dick, but like a stupid dick. Like an absolutely bonkers, moronic dick. How in the fuck did you just think like, oh yeah, surely these photos that I've been getting hounded for weeks, I can just post those as my own work and nobody will bat an eye. Like that's insanely stupid to me, you know? Like I don't want somebody that stupid with a pair of scissors next to my head. In no way, shape, or form do I want Mindy anywhere near my head with those. I'm gonna come out of that haircut missing hair and an ear. My girlfriend spent over £1,000 on a hair appointment and tried to hide the cost from me afterwards. Originally posted to r/off my chest on December 21st, 2025. I, female 26, found out that my girlfriend, female 27, spent over £1,000 on her hair. My jaw is on the floor. She got her hair dyed a platinum blonde. It is naturally black normally. I'm not angry that she dyed her hair, but I found out she paid almost £850 to get it done, and that is not counting the tip and the new hair products she needs. All total, she spent over £1,000. It was one appointment spread over 2 days. Okay, chat. Any hairstylist in here who can tell me how much it would cost for someone who's naturally black to dye their hair platinum blonde normally? That's a fair price for platinum blonde? This is 1.3K USD. Is it really that much to go platinum blonde? Why the fuck would anybody pay for that? So from what you guys are telling me, that's actually kind of an okay price for this kind of service. Which, like, fair. If somebody's willing to pay it, fair. But oh my fucking god. We aren't wealthy and I almost had a heart attack when I found out. We don't watch each other's spending, but I would never spend that much without talking about it with her. I guess this does raise a question of how do they handle their finances. She says it was so much and took so long because it takes that much to get Asian hair blonde. She did the appointments while I was working the night shift. I'm a paramedic and I sleep during the day when I work nights, and sometimes I don't see her before I leave for work if she's already asleep. She also paid with cash. I think she did it when I was working nights and used cash that she took out over a few weeks, so I would not see the charge on our statement or know how much the appointment cost. Plus, now she apparently has to go for touch-ups often, every couple of weeks, and those are also expensive. Okay, here's the thing, chat. Don't get me wrong, I think it's silly to spend your money on this, but as long as they're paying their bills and it's not our money, it's her money, I understand being icked out by it because I think I would be too. But I think she should be allowed to spend her money how she wants to, responsibly or not. Like, as dumb as it sounds, y'all, this really is not that different to me than somebody buying a designer bag. You know, I think it's dumb. I'm sure a majority of my chat thinks it's probably dumb, but like, if it's her money, not our relationship money, I'm kind of okay with it. Yeah, what's making her feel like she has to hide it? Vic Kitty, I think that's a good question that you're asking here. Don't trust someone who can't spend within their means. Here's the thing, Bouncy Ball, is we don't know that yet. We can assume, but I don't know. I think there's a world where this works, you know? I can't believe she spent over £1,000 on her hair when money is tight. Oh, okay, that's different. That's different. I can't remember the last time I spent that much in one go, not counting rent. I'm stressed out and she is so nonchalant about it. I'm not upset that she changed her hair. I'm upset about the amount she spent and the hundreds it will cost for maintenance and products. Plus, I'm not happy that she hid the true cost of the appointment for me. I only found out accidentally. I'm upset about the cost and the fact she hid it from me. She thinks I'm overreacting, but I don't think I am. I just can't believe it. Ugh, that's it? That's all we get? I feel like I need more info on your guys' finances. Like, what does it mean that money is tight? fight? How are you guys paying for bills together? Also, is it like suspicious that this money, well, I guess she was pulling it out with cash over a few weeks. Well, that's just OP saying, I think she did it when I was working nights and used cash that she took out over a few weeks. But there could be a maybe she got the cash from something else type of situation here. I really want to know what other people are saying here because I feel like a little bit of a fence sitter right now. I'm an advocate for like, if you want to spend your money in a certain way, like if Platinum Blonde makes this person happy, they should be allowed to spend their own money, assuming that they're paying their portion of the bills and, you know, everything that they need to pay for in this relationship. If they want to irresponsibly spend their $1,000 and then they have money for nothing else fun, I think you should be allowed to. And if that just doesn't work for you, as a person in that relationship, you can leave. Then again, it sounds like there could be some hanky-panky happening in the background. So, relevant comments. Oh, okay, yeah, this just nullified everything that I just said. OP responded to somebody asking, was it her money to spend? OP said, no, it was from our shared bank account. Okay, yeah, now we're on the fuck your girlfriend, she is a terrible person wave. Someone else asked, why do you care? It's her money. OP replied, no, it wasn't just her money. It was from our shared bank account. I care because money is tight and she took such a large amount from our shared account without telling me and then hid it for me over a month. I only found out accidentally and it is my business. Okay, in this commenter's defense, you didn't explicitly say that. Now that you've explicitly said that, yeah, fuck your girlfriend. She is making insanely irresponsible decisions. You do not take your partner's money behind their back so that you can dye your hair blonde. If you want to do that with your own money, fucking go for it, bro. But if it's with money that's shared with your partner that's supposed to be for specific things and you didn't consult them about what you wanted to spend the money on, yeah, you're a fucking dickhead. What else did she spend money on without telling OP? And I think that's the base of like why you should probably just break up with this person. Number one, has she done this in the past? Probably. Number two, if she hasn't done it in the past, or even if she has, she'll probably do it again. I am telling you guys right now, like my personal philosophy is I don't want to be with somebody who's financially irresponsible because that will come and bite you in the butt. Isn't there some insane statistic? Don't take this to heart, but I could have sworn somebody told me one time that like 50% of divorces are because of financial reasons. Like, bro, do not get married to somebody who doesn't have their shit together when it comes to money because that will just create endless amounts of problem in your relationship. Another relevant comment, I'm a platinum blonde and I paid $300 for a session max. This is crazy. Very cute that you don't mind her getting her hair done, but this is comparable to new shoes. A splurge of $200 to $300 once a year is fine, but 1,000 pounds on shoes. I'm so sorry, my dude. This is a woman, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, female 26. Okay. Edit, make her pay it back or break up. Unfortunately, I would say the latter. My mom was like this. She made us go bankrupt beyond repair. She's now AWOL and debts keep showing up out of nowhere. The star of this week, $38,000 from 1986, before I was born. This means way more than you think for the rest of your life. Okay. So more information. Apparently, this is not a normal amount of money for a platinum blonde, which I'm very curious why this all of a sudden happened, you know? Sounds like maybe she got scammed or maybe that's not where all the money is going. I don't know. Like if she's doing this sketchy shit behind your back, what other sketchy shit is she doing behind your back? Someone replied to that saying, also the maintenance on that blonde is going to be so often. Do you go in every 6 weeks-ish? OP replied to that comment saying, my girlfriend has been going every 2 to 3 weeks to get her roots dyed? Fuck, I know nothing about hair, but that sounds way too early. Am I crazy for that? Do people get their roots done every 2 to 3 weeks? Yeah, Cherry Soap said, I get my roots touched up every 6 weeks. 2 weeks is way too often. Bro, she's totally cheating or some shit. There is some sketchy shit happening, bro. There's no way. Absolutely not. There is some sketchy hanky-panky shit happening, chat, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it. Oh yeah, you guys are saying that it probably depends on the length of her hair. That makes sense too. Okay. Okay. July 17, 2026, 7 months later, I was upset because she took the money from our shared bank account, hid it from me, and then lied when I found out what she had done. She was contributing 30 to 40% towards our rent and other expenses, and the money for her hair appointment and products came from our shared account. I was upset because money was tight and her spending so much made it difficult to pay for other things we needed. We ended up breaking up over her being so irresponsible with our finances and the fact that she lied to me. The tipping point came when I asked her to cancel her appointment to get her roots done because our rent was due. She told me she canceled it. However, she didn't. Does she think that she's just gonna hide that? Like her girlfriend's not gonna look at her head one day and be like, these roots are dyed. In order to pay our rent, we ended up not having enough money for food and her car payment. That was enough to end the relationship for me. Truthfully, I should have ended things immediately when I found out about the original hair appointment. Instead, I hung on for over 3 months and feel stupid because of that. I moved out of our flat in February, a week before our lease ended. My ex-girlfriend kept saying I was angry about her changing her hair and completely skipped over the fact that it was the financial irresponsibility that I was upset about. She messaged me once right after we broke up asking for money. I have blocked her everywhere. I haven't seen or spoken to her in months, and I don't plan to ever again. I just feel stupid for not ending the relationship immediately. You know what? At least you got out of there. You know what I'm saying? I think anybody who's listening to this who might relate to something like this, take notes, get the hell out early, but hey girl, you're free. You got the fuck out of there. That's what I'm talking about. We gotta take the wins when we can, chat. That is so fucky. Low key, because y'all were saying this a bit in chat, I think the girlfriend's going through something. Whether it's like mental health related or just like, I don't know, midlife crisis related. How old was she? 27. So quarter life crisis related, I guess. She's going through something. Like something cracked in her. Or I don't know, maybe she's always exhibited this behavior or something. But how long were they together? Okay, OP never said. I'm curious. Because you guys were talking about, is this the lesbian U-Haul relationship type beat? Like, well, if it's a shared bank account, you gotta think they've been together for a while, right? Like, you don't just get a shared bank account with someone right off the rip. I don't know. I guess I'm just curious and want more information on, like, was this relationship all hunky-dory and then she just decided to pivot one day? Or, like, y'all been dating for 3 months? I have a shared bank account with my girlfriend and we've been together for 6 months. Why? Do y'all live together already? Do we have a real life lesbian U-Haul relationship in here right now? Me and my girlfriend got our shared account at 4 months. Never underestimate the lesbians. Fair enough. Y'all scare me low key. Not like that. Not like in a homophobic way. I mean, in like how fast you guys move in your relationships. I should just shut up. Do y'all live together? Like, that's so funny to me. I can't wrap my head around that. Yes, we do. We moved in after 3 months. You know what, Bella? I hope it works out for you, bro. That's so good. I can't imagine that. I just wouldn't want to open up a joint bank account with somebody 4 months into our relationship. We made it official after 3 days of knowing each other, but don't worry, we also have separate accounts too, so yeah. Oh yeah, of course. If you guys ever have shared bank accounts with anybody, you should always have separate ones as well. 2 weeks. I'm sorry, Bella. I really do hope your relationship works out. This is just so stereotypical, and I'm enjoying every little bit of it. You know what, Bella? I hope it works out for you. But if it crashes and burns, make sure to put it in my subreddit. r/Sarby. Link in the description. Oh, man. I hope you prove me wrong, Bella. I hope instead of that post, you know what? If you guys get married, post a picture of it in my subreddit, too. And maybe, who knows, with the rate you're going, maybe that's in 2 months. The stereotype is stereotyping, chat. I don't know what to tell you. I purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding, and it's brought me a lot of happiness. Chat, I'm not gonna lie, when I picked this story, I didn't even realize it said ex. I didn't process that. That's insane. This one's got a new update 4 years later, originally posted to r/true off my chest on March 18th, 2022. I once looked up to my cousin. I thought he was a great guy and we were close like brothers. I was also dating a girl. I was deeply in love with her and planned to marry her someday. I thought my life was perfect. One day I came home early because a colleague offered to cover my shift. I was pretty tired, so I accepted and went home. Arriving home, I found them in my bed, having sex. Both of them were shocked to say the least. I told them I wanted them to be gone by the time I get back and left the house. They were gone by the time I did get back, but she left me a note telling me she was sorry and to call her when I'd calmed down. I didn't call her. I texted her saying I'd gather her things and drop them off at the cousins in a few days and that she's staying with him now, not me. I followed through with that. It took about a week to transfer everything. Both of them tried to apologize, but I didn't have anything nice to say to them, so I said nothing. I just knocked the door and handed the bags to whoever answered before leaving. My cousin called me multiple times to try to apologize, but I refused to accept it. Yeah, honestly, fuck that cousin and your ex, bro. I like where this is going. 3 years have passed since then. I went no contact with them. I didn't bring it up to the rest of the family or any of their friends. I'm not sure why. I just didn't. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize, so I answered. It was my cousin. He sounded really happy and was acting like he hadn't destroyed my life. He explained to me he and my ex were getting married and he wanted me to be his best man. Shoot him? The fuck? That is insane. Hey, I know I just called you on a random number so that I could trick you into picking up, but me and your ex who cheated on you with me are getting married and I want you to be the best man. The audacity. I was so angry that he had the utter gall to act like nothing was wrong and lost my temper. I yelled at him and called him names before hanging up. He sent me a text telling me the offer still stood, and if I didn't want to be his best man, then he would just simply wouldn't have one. A few days passed by and I had an idea. I texted him back and apologized. I said a paragraph of bullshit saying I was still angry, but this could be an opportunity for the three of us to heal and move past it. He was overjoyed and said he'd pay for everything and he'd help me pick out a suit if I wanted, which I accepted because I sure as shit wasn't going to spend any money on his stupid wedding if I couldn't help it. Oh my God, chat. This is the most insane play of a lifetime. Hold on. He's cooking Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen right now. The wedding day came. I had spent the week prior writing a speech, putting all the negative feelings that had bottled up over the years into words on paper. The wedding was pretty great. I'm sure one of them has some nice, well-paying job or something because they must have spent a decent amount of money on this wedding from how nice it was. Our entire family was there, as was a decent chunk of my ex's family. Eventually, the time for my speech came. I just remember feeling really nervous as it built up to it, and my voice kept faltering when I was reading it out, but I didn't and still don't care. At least I got it out. I explained what these two horrible people had done to me. I called them the worst names I could think of and wished them the worst. Then I left. I was expecting some kind of a dramatic moment from all of the guests, gasps of shock and all that, but there was none of that. Everyone was silent. I didn't even think of the speech. I thought he was gonna ruin it in another way. That's honestly low-key so funny though. Hey, I know we ruined your life, but let me give you a speech of my wedding. That's their fault. They should have thought that one through. On my way home, I got a call from my mother angrily telling me that I'd ruined the wedding, and both of them were so upset, and she asked me why I do this. Bro, your mom is your biggest op. The fuck? I know this cousin stole your girlfriend and she cheated on you with him, but how dare you get mad at them and ruin their wedding? Like, Kathy would have dabbed me up after that shit. She doesn't even know how to dab up. She would learn it. She'd be like, good shit, son. I told her that they deserved it for what they'd done to me, and everything I'd said in the speech was true. She kept defending them, so I swore at her and hung up. Since then, I've gotten several calls and texts from others in mine and my ex's family, angry that I ruined the wedding. I've also received a few texts from people who were there being supportive and telling me they were there if I needed to talk. I'm not sure if I feel better having done this, but it did bring me great catharsis when people were telling me the wedding was ruined. At least now, they felt at the very least a fraction of what they've made me feel. Pretty cut and paste. Your mom's fucking crazy. I think that's the part of this that pisses me off the most. Like, obviously your cousin and your ex are dick bags, but your mom defending them is fucking insane. Just a little edit to address some common questions. As far as I'm aware, the rest of the family wasn't aware of her cheating on me. They likely knew we were dating at some point, then we weren't. I've learned from previous stuff that I can't rely on my family for any kind of support, so I've been on low contact with them since I moved out of my parents' house, which is why I didn't mention this to anyone in my family. A lot of people are also asking for the speech transcript. I wrote it in a Google Doc and read it out from my phone. The delivery was kind of lackluster. It sounded like I was gonna cry and tripped over my words, but I managed to read it out. It isn't verbatim what I said, but it's very close as I was reading from this as a general script. Oh my God, he included it. Okay. Hold on, chat. I'm gonna try to read this in like I'm giving a speech voice. Hello, everyone. I'm not very good at public speaking, so apologies in advance. It's an honor to be at this wedding, and an even greater honor to be the best man. I was shocked that I was even invited at all, since the last time I'd spoken to the bride and groom was when I'd found them fucking in my own bed. Ex's name was my partner at the time, you see, but I don't think she got the memo that when you're dating someone, you don't fuck their cousin in your partner's own bed. And it wasn't like cousin's name didn't know we were dating either. Who knows how long this slimy see you next Tuesday was fucking her behind my back. Weeks? Months? For those unaware, my ex and I had been dating for 2 years. I loved her with all my heart and was actually saving up to get a proposal ring. Maybe if my ex wasn't such a whore, my cousin would be giving this speech instead, and I wouldn't have been struggling with mental health for 3 years. Anyway, I've heard 50% of marriages end in divorce. I hope yours is a messy one. From the bottom of my heart, fuck you both. You ruined my life, and I will never forgive either of you. Wow. All that I ask is that he dropped the mic afterwards, you know? Let that shit drop, baby. I would have paid such good money to be in there. Can you imagine just being a +1? Like, you have no tie to these people at all. Your partner's just like, yeah, this is like a buddy from college. And then you get there, you're just like enjoying your free food and beer, and this guy gets up there. Yeah, so this whore. Like, oh my God. I don't think I'd hold it together, low-key. My face would say everything. I would be looking at my partner like, Oh my God, the staff must have gone crazy. I didn't even think of that. Like, can you imagine you're trying to like serve food during a speech? Because sometimes they do that. And this dude's just going off, bro. I think I'm pausing. I'm like, hey dog, you'll get your chicken here in a second. I'm trying to listen. What the fuck is happening up there? That's so good, bro. I've been a wedding videographer. I would have been struggling, bro. That would have been so funny. As a wedding videographer, do you keep recording? Okay, notable comments from OP. Okay, so a commenter asked, did your mother have any idea that they had cheated on you? OP said, I'm not sure if she knew. I'd assume she didn't, as I hadn't told her. But I did say in my speech that I found the two of them in my bed together, obviously with much more graphic language. Oh, and then he also asked about the price of the suit, and he said, I'm not sure about the exact price of the suit. I do know it wasn't cheap. It was around 300 pounds. I'm keeping it as a souvenir. Free suit. That's a fucking win, chat. Suits are goddamn expensive, bro. I need to get a new one soon, and I'm not excited. There's not really no reason to read this comment, just OP's reply. I intend to get rid of everyone, including my mother. The fact that she's siding with her brother's son over her own in all of this only tells me that she doesn't love me, so I'll return the favor. Damn. I mean, I agree. That's some fraud ass shit of that mother. Commenter 3, I'll read this one because it's not that long. If I'm reading this correctly, it's completely plausible that nobody but you three knew what happened, and he probably got some pressure from the family along the lines of, you know what would be really nice? If your cousin that you haven't seen in years would be your best man. They couldn't tell them it was a bad idea, and you showed them why it was a bad idea. I didn't even think about that. Cousin that you haven't seen in 3 years being your best man, like, you must be such a boner. I can think of 4 people off the top of my head that I could ask to be my best man, and none of them would be my cousins. Like, I just naturally made friends with people. Like, did this dude just not have any friends who fit the bill better than his cousin who he had stolen his girlfriend from? OP, that's actually a very good theory. Probably not my mom who pressured him, but my aunt, in parentheses cousin's mom, would probably do that. Maybe some of her friends and family who are present as well. My aunt's side of the family quite like me. In parentheses, we're not blood related. I'm blood related to my cousin through my mom and his dad. And most of the people reaching out to me in support were from her section of the family. I don't know for sure. I'm genuinely surprised nobody seemed to know why we stopped talking and why they didn't know my ex and I had broken up. How did they not talk about that? Hey, you're all of a sudden dating another cousin's ex, and now that cousin isn't in the picture and won't talk to said person. Like, I don't know, bro. If that happened in my family, I would straight up just go up to that cousin and be like, yeah, you did some sketchy shit. I'm with him, bro. I don't even know the whole story. That would be some insanely evil shit, bro. Update 1, posted July 14th, 2022, almost 4 months later. Some stuff has happened since the whole mess that was my cousin's wedding. My mom tried to talk to me. She said she saw the post I'd made. I pushed her away for a few days before finally speaking to her. I'm struggling to find words to describe how things worked out between us. The easiest way to explain it is that we agreed to disagree on whether what I'd done was correct. I don't think that's the important part. Like, yeah, if you really want to make an argument, maybe, bro, shouldn't have done that, but like, also, what do you expect from the guy? He was literally getting salt in the wound and he reacted. Honestly, like, if there's anybody to blame here, it's the fuck-ass cousin for what he did and thinking that this was a good idea. But anyways, let's hone in on that fact and not the fact that you're siding with the person who did your own son so ungodly dirty. I got a mix of messages from those who were present at the wedding, some supportive, some telling me off. I was struggling a lot. I've just gone back to simply functioning like I was before the wedding after I came down from getting my own back. I don't regret at all what I did, and I still feel satisfied that I got payback. I was making plans to take my own life about a month after the wedding. Oh no. I hadn't told anyone for obvious reasons, but my mom, uncle, and cousin, in parentheses, same cousin whose wedding I ruined, came to me and told me they'd pay for a private counselor since the mental health department of the NHS is under-equipped to say the least. I mean, that doesn't redeem the cousin or the mom, I would say. Hot take. So shout out this uncle. I went to therapy, found a counselor who was very helpful. He taught me a lot. I got diagnosed with PTSD caused by the discovery of the affair. He's been a big help and has encouraged me to give casual dating a try to build confidence in myself and get used to rejection as a normal part of life. I signed up to a few dating sites, although I'm avoiding Tinder like the plague. My counselor specifically decided I stay as far away from Tinder as I possibly can. I've not been very successful in that avenue, but it's pretty much in line with what I was expecting. I've talked to a few people and even got a date scheduled, but she stood me up and ghosted me, which hurt. Ugh, that's rough for the first first date back. Don't give up, OP. I'm doing good though, much better. I don't have suicidal thoughts very often anymore. Whenever I'm feeling especially crap, I like to open up Reddit and read your supportive messages. That's all for now. I'll probably start using this account on a more regular basis, so you may see more of me. Okay, and then OP did not leave any comments on this post. Damn, I didn't realize it was like that serious, but that makes perfect sense, bro. Like, I couldn't even imagine that shit. Getting betrayed by someone that you trusted, not just by someone, by two people you trusted with your life, probably. I can't get a read on this mom, bro. It should be acknowledged that, like, yeah, when your child is struggling with their mental health, helping them pay for a counselor to get back up on their feet is like a great thing to do as a parent. But then, like, fucking blaming him for wanting revenge on the people who caused the said mental health turmoil that he's going through is just like so easy to be a better mom, and she's just not. The mom is trying to play the gray zone when there is none. Exactly. I don't know. I feel like if there's any time to go nuclear on your family, it's when you get betrayed by them. Because I think there's like leniency that you give your family when they make other mistakes, because you kind of like assume that you can trust them more because they're family, that they wouldn't do anything more severe than that. Family's just so weird, bro. Like, the dynamics are just so not black and white. There's so many different gray areas with it. Okay, chat, we do have an update. Post 2 posted August 14, 2022, 1 month after the previous post. Popping in real quick to remind you guys that I do record these live on Twitch, so if you guys want to be a part of the reads and potentially be featured in a video, go check me out. Link in the description. Would love to see you there. Not a lot to update, really. Have not had much luck with the dating, so I gave up. I finally went on a date with 2 separate girls, but neither of them were my type, so I didn't arrange for a second date with either. The first constantly talked about her ex and how much of an a-hole he was. Ooh. Obviously, I can relate pretty hard, but it just gave me the impression that she hadn't moved on from him. After we'd finished our date, I walked her home and she offered for me to come inside and watch a movie with her. I declined and lied, saying I needed to go home and feed my cat. In parentheses, I don't have a cat right now. You know what, King? Get yourself a cat. That might be healing. He said this and she seemed to buy it. I felt bad for turning her down, and I hope she finds someone who will treat her well. She seemed like a sweet girl, but she's just hung up on a toxic ex. The second girl was just painfully boring. She constantly talked about Love Island. Someone at Kai, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I have such an aversion to those reality shows, man. They just seem so toxic. Oh, she constantly talked about Love Island, I'm a Celeb, and a few other shows I can't remember the name of. I've never even heard of that show. I'm a Celeb? What the fuck? I faked an emergency just to get out of it because 5 minutes with this woman felt like several decades. Damn. Other than that, no bites, and that's fine. My counselor said that if using those sites feels like a chore, then I should stop using them, and it felt like a chore, so I stopped. Dude, that is like the perfect way to describe dating apps nowadays. Like, they genuinely do feel like a chore. It feels like you're like trying so hard to find love. There's been quite a few common questions in my DMs, so I'll respond to them here. Question: how are you holding up? Answer: I'm doing great, all things considered. I have dark thoughts from time to time, but I've no intention to act on them. My counselor is a massive help. He's taught me a lot of coping mechanisms and has helped boost my confidence from non-existent to probably a bit above average. Question 2: hey, did you know your story was shared on YouTube and TikTok? Answer: sort of. I've seen the videos you've linked me, which was the same TikTok video, but not the ones on YouTube or any other platforms it may have been shared to. I'm surprised it's gotten this big, to be honest, LOL, but I'm aware now because you've told me. And here's another one. Have you spoken with your ex at all since the wedding? Answer: only when I've been to my cousin's house to visit with my mom, which is infrequent. Damn, you're still seeing this guy? That's fucking crazy, man. I feel like you need to cut that shit out ruthlessly. Like, low-key, move away. I think a fresh reset would be really nice for OP. I don't speak to either of them much. My mom just insists I visit him since he's paying for my therapy. The therapy that he needs because of his actions. I think she's trying to somehow repair our relationships, but once I'm well enough to not need therapy anymore, I'm going to go no contact with all of them and move to a different city. Okay, bet. Question: continue from the previous question. If you do speak to your ex and or cousin, what do they say? Answer: anything that isn't related to the wedding or fucking each other in my bed. They do everything in their power to avoid talking about anything even tangentially related to those things. If you have any additional questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll try to answer them if I see them. And then OP has answered some comments with questions, I think. Commenter 1: how do you know for sure that the therapist is on your side? Your cousin is paying for the therapy, so what guarantee is there that he didn't buy your therapist into manipulating you? Why are you visiting, letting your mother force you to see them? You're an adult. How do you know that this won't be held against you? Guilting you into being in their presence for paying for you. They'll make you feel like you owe them. They don't feel guilty. They just want to look good in public and say that they paid for your therapy, so it's all good now. Why can't you go no contact now? You don't need a mother like that. Obviously, OP needs therapy, and if the avenue to get that is by maintaining a relationship with them. I kind of understand why OP is doing that. Obviously, it would be better and more sunshine and rainbows if he could just get the therapy paid for him, and then he never has to see these people ever again. But I'm guessing that's not how the dynamic would work. So like, I understand why he's playing this game. While I do agree it would be better that he wasn't, sometimes it's the lesser of two evils, you know? OP, I picked him. I had a therapist before him, a lady who basically kept implying I did something to drive my ex into my cousin's arms, and various other accusatory shit I wasn't impressed with. That's fucking insane. My current therapist kind of criticized me for ruining the wedding, but he didn't shame me for it. And he's actually teaching me coping mechanisms. I'm not going no contact in case they stop paying for my therapy, and they probably will try to use it against me, but it's fine. I'll fuck off to another city and never see them again. Commenter 2, does your cousin expect you to have some kind of relationship with him or forgive him because he's paying for your therapy? Do you worry that he'll stop paying for therapy if you're not well in his eyes, / aren't willing to forgive him, etc.? I'm glad you've got a good counselor, but I'm worried that since it's being financed by your betrayer, that there will be some strings attached. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I really wonder how their marriage will turn out, because if they're willing to cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Anyway, that's not your concern. Yours is healing and living an awesome life. OP, I honestly have no clue what he wants in terms of a relationship. I'm gonna ask next time I see him. To be honest, I don't know if he wants a relationship with OP. If I had to really venture to guess, he really just wants to not feel guilty about what he did. Like, I think that's honestly why he asked OP to be his best man. I don't think it's about maintaining a relationship. It's just like, I feel guilty. What can I do to make myself not feel guilty anymore? I do worry he'll stop paying for therapy if I go no contact with him and the rest of my family. They said to me that I need to try and get better, and it took a big argument with them for me to get a new counselor when the first one basically kept implying I did something to cause my ex to cheat on me. I would be interested to see if they forced OP to have that therapist, and that's why they were so argumentative about it. Second one was the one I'm currently with, and he's pretty impartial. No judgment. He offers criticism when it's warranted and it's constructive, not accusatory. Commenter 3, is your cousin also trying to repair the relationship, or only your mom? Is he still apologizing and begging you to be friends again, or did he give up? If so, are you going to be friends with him again? If he does a lot for you, etc. When he sees you, is he happy to see you? Is he thinking about the pain he caused you? OP, he seems to be trying to repair the relationship. He seems happy to see me, as does my ex, but I can tell they're still uncomfortable about the situation. I mean, as they fucking should be. I haven't really asked because I don't care, but what I think is happening is he's asking my mom to get me to see them. I don't plan on being friends with them ever. You could hold a gun to my head and give me the chance between pulling the trigger or being friends with them, and I choose the former. As for if he thinks about the pain he's caused me, I don't really know. I haven't asked. I don't really care. If he does feel bad, I hope it eats him alive. In between updates, OP makes another post regarding his dating life. I didn't include it as it doesn't pertain to the cousin situation, but anyone who's interested can find it here. Okay. Oh, wow. This man cannot catch a break. I just lost a good relationship because I'm bisexual. Oh, Lord. Can someone please cut my boy a break? I was hoping it was gonna be a positive one, chat, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna be positive. I don't know if there's much to add there, to be honest. Like, I don't think OP is doing anything wrong. I think the therapy is really important for him to get, and if they're paying for it, I understand him having to endure seeing the cousin and his mom and the ex to like get them to pay for it. It's not ideal. I'm not gonna sit here and say that that's the most ideal case scenario, but the other case scenario is he doesn't go to therapy and potentially unalives himself. So like, I would definitely say that the current circumstance he's in is better. I guess maybe he could try to get a job that would cover therapy for him, but like easier said than done there as well, right? Like, I actually don't think that is easier than just milking your fuck ass cousin and your ex. Let's do this. This is gonna hurt our souls, but we have to read it, bro. Just because I think it gives us full context for what we're about to read for the new update. This is coming in Saturday, September 3rd, 2022. So a little over 2 weeks since the last update. Titled, I just lost a good relationship because I'm bisexual. Posted to True Off My Chest. I mentioned to a friend in passing that I'd given up on dating apps because they're so mind-numbingly painful to use, which prompted her to recommend to me one of her friends. She's aware that I'm bisexual. I don't go out of my way to mention it, but if it's relevant to the conversation, then I'd mention it in passing. I talked to this guy for about 10 or 11 days. We had a few dates, and I genuinely felt a good connection with him. We were talking at one point about previous relationships. He's something that's known in the LGBTQ community as a gold star gay, which for anyone who doesn't know is just a gay man who's never been with a woman. I mentioned that I only had one relationship before and it ended with her cheating. I didn't go into much detail because I didn't want to come off like I was still not over her to a degree that would interfere with our relationship. He asked if I didn't realize I was gay until after our relationship ended, and I just said, oh no, I'm just bi. And he went quiet. He was quiet for the rest of the date. I walked him home and said goodbye after we were done, and then I went home. This happened yesterday. This morning, he texted me explaining that he didn't think we were going to work out. When I asked why, he told me he didn't feel comfortable dating a bisexual man. I didn't respond after that. I don't even know how to describe the pain I'm feeling. My day is ruined. I genuinely felt a good connection with him. He was a great guy. He was funny, handsome, amazing to have all kinds of conversations with, and he just wrote me off because of literally nothing. No real reason, just because of my sexuality, something you would think we'd be able to relate on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand OP being sad and upset about this, but to me, this just sounds like OP dodged a bullet. If this is this guy's deal breaker, I don't know, like, shit, bro, my girlfriend's bisexual, I don't give a fuck. That's not important to me because she picked me. I don't understand that, and like, this is one of those preferences to me that is like shallow and stupid, which tells me that the man that OP was seeing was shallow and stupid, and shallow and stupid only bleeds into the relationship, right? To me, if he's shallow and stupid about this, he would have made other things in your relationship shallow and stupid, and that's just a terrible kind of relationship to be in my opinion. It does suck that like a part of your identity was brushed aside when you felt like you genuinely connected with someone, but like I would hope to tell OP or anybody else who's experiencing this, like that is a shallow reason for somebody to not want you. And hopefully you can take some solace in like reframing it to like, you know what, you dodged a bullet. Sarby is a supportive king. Yeah, bro. I don't really get that, chat. Like, do your thing. All the pies in the chat say boo. You guys are gonna make it look like you're booing me. Or you're booing what I'm saying, which then everybody's gonna call you guys homophobic. Or biphobic. The stigma is that bisexuals cheat at a higher rate, which is untrue and stupid. Yeah, I feel like that's just white men. I'm sorry, bro. I feel like white men cheat more than any group, any statistic. Also, listen, I'm not talking shit about the gay community. Like, obviously, I support it. That being said, bro, I have never heard of more crazy fucking cheating stories than from gay community for men. I've heard horror stories from my gay friends and their gay friends. Yeah, that's a character issue, not sexuality issue. Exactly. I agree with that. Y'all fighting about gold star gays probably haven't heard about platinum star gays. Bro, I've heard of all that shit, Ninetail. I can't believe it, bro. I'm finally ahead of my time. Shout out my gay friends in Minnesota. I miss you guys. Okay, but what is a platinum gay? Okay, so basically it's all about like how much you've touched a vagina, and the first one being when you're born, right? So I think a gold star gay is a gay that has never had sex with a woman or like touched a vagina or anything like that, except for when they were born. So a platinum star gay is a gay who has never been with a woman, and then on top of that, they were born via a C-section. So it's like not even anything that you can really control on that one, because it's not like you had a say on whether or not you were born as a C-section or as a, you know, is it offensive to say regular birth or whatever? Update 3, this new update is coming in May 18th, 2026, 4 years and 2 months after the original post. And if we're keeping track, a little under 4 years since the last update. Title of this is Yet Another Update, in parentheses, maybe final one? Who knows? Hello again, it's been quite a long time. A lot has happened, most of it boring stuff that you won't be interested in. I'd be surprised if I reach even 50 comments on this post, given how long it's been, but I've received messages as recent as a week ago, as of writing this post, asking about updates. I'm not in therapy anymore. I spoke with my therapist about how my family, primarily my mother, was insisting I visit my cousin and my ex. In parentheses, I'll talk about them soon, don't worry. And he said that it'd be best if I go no contact, even if it means losing access to therapy, as being made to see them could make my mental health worse, and there was a chance it could cause a development of CPTSD. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Obviously, he's the therapist, so he probably knows best, but I thought being in therapy would be more beneficial here. But he is right, where like being around them is also not good for him. Therapist is cooking. I think it's good advice from the therapist. Okay. Yeah, I was probably wrong about that then. Better to not have therapy, but be away from the people giving you therapy. All right, that actually makes sense now that I'm saying it out loud. I went no contact and the therapy payments stopped, but I'd managed to save up enough and canceled a few subscriptions to keep going for about 10 months, after which I felt good enough about myself that I didn't feel like I needed therapy anymore. My cousin ended up cheating on my ex. Shocker! I mean, we thought it was gonna be the other way around, but hey, at least his last line about it ending in divorce will probably be right. I was expecting it to go the other way around, to be honest, but there's poetic justice there, I suppose. That happened about a year ago. When I heard the news, I didn't really feel anything. There was a time where the news would have made me feel overjoyed, and I'd have been riding the high of her experiencing the same thing she did to me, but I think I've truly moved on. I just feel sorry for their kid. Oh my God, there's a kid. No. Oh, that's so awful, bro. I said in my speech that I hoped their divorce was a messy one, and from what I've heard from family and seen on their social medias, it most certainly was a messy one. A little manifestation, we love to hear it. I don't know if they're still dealing with it. I've heard divorce proceedings can take years in some cases. I don't use social media a ton. I've only got this Reddit account and a Facebook to keep in contact with non-toxic family and friends, and snoop on my cousin and ex whenever I get curious. As for me, like I said, nothing super interesting. I moved to a different city, got an all right job. It can be stressful at times, but folks there are great and I get on with them. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I haven't thought about harming myself in a long time. So there's that at least. Thank you all so much for the support over the years. I wish you all the best of your lives, whatever may be going on in them. Okay, well, I hope if OP gets in like a more healthier relationship in the future, that'd be a nice, good little update there, but no pressure. We love when karma swings back around and kicks the people in the ass though. A couple of comments from OP. OP said, yeah, true, I might get a cat. I really like the idea of having a fluff ball with some silly name like Cosmos Obliterator or something. Yes, get a kibby. It's so healing, even though mine just tried to bite my personal assistant. I still love him. He's just kind of an asshole. Reading back on that post, I feel really bad that I didn't give that one girl still hung up on her ex a proper chance. I think I was really judgmental and made my mind up too soon. I think I just saw myself in her a little and I didn't like that. I don't know, man. Your gut was telling you something and you went with it. I can't disagree with that. I was reading that and I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, you should have given her another chance. I was thinking, oh yeah, your read might be right here, which I think is important when you're trying to heal, right? Because you're in such a stage of self-doubt. Any time that you can take the win of like trusting yourself, making a decision, you should take that win. Definitely hoping I get some kind of lucky break, but I won't hold my breath. I've survived this long so far. I'll make it through whatever there is to come, be it boring or not. Man, I hope OP finds a woman who falls in love with him. Or man, he's bisexual. I can't even lie though, chat. It feels so good that the cousin and the ex just got what they fucking deserved. Thank God, bro. I mean, not that it's gonna ever deter a cheater like ever, but if you are thinking about sleeping with your partner's cousin and engaging in that, that should tell you everything you need to know about their morals, right? They're willing to do something so dirty to their own family member. Yeah, that's a disgusting person and you don't need them in your life. I suppose having to pay child support is cousin's karma. That's true. It's not good for the kid, but for the sake of the cousin and the ex still suffering, their kid is gonna grow up and be like, what happened with my mommy and daddy? And then eventually somebody in the family is gonna get drunk and be like, okay, so your mommy cheated with your daddy on her boyfriend at the time, who was daddy's cousin, and then they proceeded to get married, and then daddy went and cheated on mommy. Like, don't get me wrong, that kid's gonna need therapy ASAP Rocky, but like, that's also gonna make OP's ex and the cousin lives way more miserable. Am I the a-hole for asking, in parentheses, not insisting, that my boyfriend switch meals with me when I don't like what I've ordered at a restaurant? For asking, not insisting. Interesting. I'm curious where this is going. Originally posted to r/am-I-the-a-hole on November 9th, 2022. Damn, using a throwaway account since I'm a founder and a moderator on my city subreddit. My boyfriend could easily see this. Big swinging dick over here. I have been friends with my boyfriend for years, actually together for about 3 months now. He's the sweetest guy and I know he's been seriously hurt in the past, and so I'm happy that we are finally clicking after being flirt buddies since middle school. We are 25 now. Whenever we go out to eat, he always orders the most basic thing. 99% of the time, it's a plain cheeseburger, ketchup on the side with honey mustard to dip his fries. He actually loves exotic food, but he says that menus and making choices stresses him out, so he doesn't want to put thought into it. I love trying exotic things, and to me, that's the reason we go out to eat. To me, it's so exciting. My issue is things always look and sound better than they turn out, and I decide that I actually just wanted a burger. So usually, I'll ask him if he'll switch with me, and he always does, and he never complains. I love trying exotic things, and to me, that's the reason we go out to eat. My issue is things always look and sound better than they turn out, and I decide that I actually wanted a burger. I mean, I guess he does the same thing. He actually loves exotic food, but he says that menus and making choices stresses him out, so he doesn't want to put thought into it. Holy shit, are they perfect for each other? Because this actually kind of works out for them. What the Okay, I just have to keep reading. Where is this fucking going? So usually I'll ask him if he'll switch with me, and he always does, and he never complains. Most of the time, he even says how good his food was. To me, it's a win for both of us. It gets him out of his comfort zone, and we don't waste food. Last night, we both had to work really late, so we met up at a sports bar. They were having a calamari special, which sounded really good. He ordered a cheeseburger as usual. I just wasn't feeling the calamari when it came out, so I asked if he'd switch with me. He said no. I asked him why not, and said I didn't want it to go to waste. He said, then you shouldn't have fucking ordered it. I was like, excuse me? He went into a tirade and said I treat him like a garbage disposal. He's a grown man. I'm being immature. Don't pin my crap on him, etc. I said it sounded like that was a rehearsed speech. No, for real. Not only does it sound like a rehearsed speech, but also there's just a nicer way to say that. And also, I think addressing the issue in that moment instead of getting ahead of it is immature in and of itself. Like if you notice a pattern of your partner always wanting to switch food with you and you have a problem with it, you address that before the next time that you get food. Like you go, hey babe, so I noticed you've been doing this a lot. I would really appreciate it if you stop. I've been super nice, super reasonable, but it's starting to get a little bit on my nerves, and I would prefer if you just order what you want and stick with it, because then I can eat what I actually want to eat. You don't tell her you shouldn't have fucking ordered it and then go on a tirade in the middle of a sports bar during the moment. Like it sounds like you've just been like waiting for this to happen again. I don't understand switching. That's his food. Just share if you're eating off your partner's plate. I agree with you. I think this whole thing is really fucking stupid. And like maybe the way that OP was explaining it, like she thinks it makes sense, but like realistically it doesn't. Like in no way, shape, or form did I read that and think, oh yes, these are two mature adults that can interact together in a mature way and have a conversation about it. So like I think there's some culpability on her, but I also think there's some culpability on this guy. I mean, it just sounds like two adults who need to work on communication, which is like 80% of Reddit. I said it sounded like it was a rehearsed speech. He said maybe it was, since I insist on stealing his food every time we go somewhere. I started crying and he said, don't start that bullshit with me. Here, have both meals, and he got up and walked out. I love at the top how OP said he's the sweetest guy and then he does not so sweet guy shit. Like, what is this? Holy fuck, what have we stumbled into, chat? He has not called or texted me, and it's 6 a.m. and I honestly thought he would call to apologize by now. I called my sister and she said, and I quote, you're an a-hole for waking me up at 5:30, and he's going to see you as asking as insisting. That's really crappy of you to put that pressure on him. And she basically hung up. Since she said it, am I the a-hole? And then the verdict on this was a-hole. I mean, I get the verdict though. Don't get me wrong, I don't love his reaction, and I think I would change how I reacted there. And I think there is definitely a good argument for like that reaction is an a-hole argument. But at the end of the day, like this weird food thing that OP's doing is the real root of the problem, I'd say. And while I do understand how like OP is asking instead of insisting, I think in his head, he's trying to do the gentlemanly thing. And like, even though you're asking, there is a little bit of pressure to say yes. Like, I think there is this like gentlemanly expectation. If your partner says that they don't want your food, if you could switch, that you have to say yes. Like, as a man, I do think that's something that is kind of like thrusted upon us. Could he have better communication? Absolutely. But yeah, I don't hate this verdict. I just really want to like kind of talk to the boyfriend and be like, okay, dude, I think there was a better way. Oh yeah, you guys are right. Calling anybody at 6 a.m. unless you absolutely know that they're a morning person is crazy. Why didn't she just order a hamburger? Emperor Chaos, that is the base of this whole thing. Like, I don't know. Her whole sentence of like, and then I just decided that I wanted a cheeseburger. Fucking order a cheeseburger then, bro. I'm just asking people to be self-aware, you know? Tale as old as time. Somebody is not self-aware and then they make it somebody else's problem. Yeah, I do have to say, you guys are still sticking with everyone sucks here because I think the reaction is weird. Like, I'm trying to think, if my girlfriend did this to me, I think I would look at it poorly upon myself to react the way that this boyfriend did. I think that's just not how, and granted, I guess I'm 3 years older than he is. So like, maybe you could argue that those 3 years have added the ability to maturely communicate my feelings or whatever, but I don't know. I think 3 years ago, I would have been able to be like, hey babe, let's talk about this. Not in the situation, not in a point where I call you names or you start crying and I say that's bullshit, have my food and walk out of the situation. Yeah, I definitely think there's just a better way to do that. Let's see these comments, chat. You're the a-hole. It sounds like you go out, pick out shit you're not sure you'll like, and then ask, in parentheses, which feels to him like an insistence, for him to eat the shit you decided you didn't want. That would drive me nuts, and honestly, your boyfriend did that for way longer than I would have. Also, who calls someone else at 5:30 in the morning to complain about shit? Double, you're the a-hole. Order food you like a grown-up. Obi said, can I add that he's never said he's uncomfortable with me asking him to switch before last night? While I do think he should communicate that, it's not his responsibility to like switch every time with you. And I understand how annoying that is and how like there is that pressure there that like you have to switch. You have to be a chivalrous, gentlemanly man. And bro, I'm sorry, like if this is how you think when you order food, like you gotta rewire your brain, dog. Like if you know that you always order something and then just switch up afterwards, then just start ordering the thing you know you're gonna switch to. Someone said, you're the a-hole. Why is he the one that has to deal with your experimenting? If you don't like it, order something else, but make sure you pay for both. OP said, then so much food gets wasted. You could just stop experimenting. Holy shit, I am not getting that OP understands where they're making the fucky wucky in here, which is just making me even more irritated. Like, maybe I'm starting to understand your boyfriend's reaction. Oh shit, the final edit / update is really small. OP updated on November 10th, 2022, the next day. Well, he called and didn't even let me get a word in and said he needs a break and that if he hasn't been happy in the first 3 months, then the relationship isn't for him. I guess you all are proved correct and I'm an a-hole and now a single a-hole. Someone said she has a bizarre mix of self-awareness and self-obliviousness. No, that's actually such a good way to put it. Oh, you know what it is, chat? It's that metacognition thing. Have y'all heard about this? How like some people are literally not able to like think about their thoughts. They just have thoughts and then go about their life without ever like checking those thoughts or thinking about the thoughts that they had. I just learned this and it blew my mind because I'm constantly doing that. Like, I think that's why I have like anxiety or sometimes struggle to like make a decision on something is because I'm just constantly thinking about my own thoughts. And like learning that people don't do that blows my fucking mind. Like, it's like, she's like, oh, I do this thing. And at no point does she add another layer of thought on top of that of, okay, I do this thing. Maybe to avoid doing this thing, I just go to the conclusion of the thing, which is ordering a damn cheeseburger. It blows my mind. I can't believe people walk around thinking like that. Like, you're telling me you have thoughts, but you don't think about your thoughts to understand if the way that you're thinking is a good way of thinking? The fuck is that? Like, that's one of those things that, like, realistically, if natural selection applied to human beings, we would be so much better off. If more people were natural selected to have that thought process, oh my God, we would be so far ahead as a human race. Then again, if natural selection was real, your blind boy would not be here. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. It sounds like self-sabotage. It low-key could be. To be fair, I do think this is like a first world problem. Like, I genuinely think if we break this down to its core, which is they just broke up over food that they order at a restaurant, call me mean for saying this, but I think that's actually kind of a dumb reason to break up with somebody. And who knows, maybe like that's just an underlying issue that bleeds into their entire relationship. Like, I can imagine if this is how OP is when it comes to food at restaurants, maybe there's other things in their relationship that she's doing that is irking him. And like, this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But assuming that this is the only thing, like, I know me and my girlfriend would be able to get through this. So like, as much as it could be self-sabotage and things like that, like, I just want to point out, if you're in this situation with your partner, let's communicate. Yeah, why didn't he communicate that before it got to this point? I'm like really stuck on this. Talk to each other, please. That's what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. I understand the anger of this like weird way of thinking from OP, from the Redditors, but I'm like I said, if we break this down, it's just a weird reason to break up with somebody. I don't know. I think a healthy relationship would be able to get past this shit and not turn it into like a big issue. How hard is it to say, hey babe, please order something you're actually going to eat, and then respond, okay, yes, have makeup sex and move on? That's how I feel too. She's unhinged though, because call me at 5:30 over a burger and I'd break up too. Keep in mind, she called her sister, which, to be fair, if my sibling was going through relationship problems, they can call me whenever they want. That's just a relationship that we at least have. But that being said, if they called me at 5:30 and they were clearly in the wrong, I would be like, hey sis, I love you. You're wrong, dude. Figure it the fuck out. My husband spent over $3,000 on World Cup tickets. We can't afford this and I'm furious. Originally posted to r/off my chest on February 14th, 2026. Starts off the post by saying, I don't need any advice about what to do. I just need to get this out because of how absolutely furious I am. My husband bought 3 tickets for the World Cup and each one cost over $1,000. I have been furious since I found out. We absolutely cannot afford this and my husband knows it, but he still bought them. I found out he entered the most recent lottery to get tickets. I have since also found out that it was different from the previous lotteries. Instead of going online and buying tickets right when they went on sale, you had to submit a list of which games you wanted tickets for. And if you won the lottery tickets, then your credit card card would automatically get charged. Damn, I didn't realize that's how that worked. Low-key, I know World Cup's over, and I know it's such a big, awesome thing that everybody celebrates, but low-key, it sounds like a scam. I saw those ticket prices, bro. That shit was greedy as hell. Our credit card was charged on Monday, and normally I get an alert whenever our card is used, but my husband deleted it from my phone before I saw it. Oh, so he was also actively hiding it from you. Ugh. It didn't see the charge until 2 days later, and I thought our card was compromised. I found out what the charge was, and I was still going to dispute it because we absolutely can't afford it. Okay, don't do that because I think that's low-key illegal. But my husband already paid it and confirmed he made that purchase. He took money from our emergency account. We have less than $100 in our emergency account now. Damn, what a dumbass. Please tell me you don't have kids. Well, he bought 3 tickets, so I'm guessing there's a kid involved in this, huh? Our emergency fund was low already because 2.5 years ago, my husband lost his job and he was out of work for a year. We had to dip into our emergency savings a bunch of times while he was unemployed. He knows what our financial situation is like, and I can't believe he did this. If I didn't have some overtime shifts scheduled over the next 2 weeks, we would not be able to afford our next mortgage payment. I'm furious, and he says I'm overreacting. He says he's taking his dad and his brother. Wait, you're not even taking OP. You're not even taking OP. So you spent $3,000 that you and your partner can't afford to spend, and you're not using the money for her. Like, it wouldn't make it okay, but that's just salt in the wound. He says he's taking his dad and his brother to the World Cup because both of their birthdays are the same week as the game, but that doesn't mean we can afford to spend over $3,000. My husband said at least the tickets didn't cost $1,500 each, and he also dropped a bomb on me. He applied for the tickets to every game that is being played in our city, and if he won all the games instead of just one, the total cost would have been over $12,000. Yeah, your husband's a dumbass. This is divorce worthy to me, bro. Ain't no fucking way I'm gonna be married to a dumbass like this. Also, what a stupid fucking way to justify these tickets. Well, at least they weren't $1,500. Is that how we're categorizing like things not being bad? Oh no, honey, I was shot. Oh, well, at least you weren't shot 3 times. Like, it's still bad. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I asked my husband where we would have gotten that kind of money, and he just said we would figure it out. He tried telling me that Canada has a huge demand for World Cup tickets, so that's why it cost him over $1,000 per ticket. As if that is an explanation for what he did. I can't even explain how furious I am. We've been going to marriage counseling because of how strained things got after my husband got fired, but that's not going to cut it anymore. I have always been the breadwinner in our marriage, and that's never bothered me, but now this stupid decision he made is the last straw. I tried to make it work, but I can't anymore. I'm going to get my ducks in a row and talk to a lawyer before I do anything with our finances. Then I am done with him. He thinks I'm overreacting and that all this is a big joke. I'm done. Thank God this is how the post ends. Babe, you're making the right decision. I think me and anybody with half of a brain cell would tell you that you're making the right decision here. I'm sorry, bro. If you are down bad for money, I don't care how much you care about your favorite team where they run on the field and kick balls to each other. That shit is not worth going into debt for. Sue me, bro. I get it. It's the World Cup. It only happens once every 4 years. Fucking watch it on the TV. Bro. Especially now is not the time to be making bad financial decisions. If you live in America, we are in a hellhole right now. The fact that he didn't even reference that he would make his father and brother pay for their tickets is shocking. Exactly. That is probably the wildest part to me. Like, I could maybe understand if my partner talked to me and like was like, hey, I really want to do this and we can afford it, but it's like our money. Can we figure out a way that like this makes sense and you approve of it? That is even something where I'm like, okay, we still might not be able to come to a reasonable conclusion here if we can't afford it and buy those tickets, but like, hey, at least you opened up that conversation with me and we talked about it. But in this case, he just spent their money and then went, fuck you, I'm not even taking you. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, she's got a dip, man. I really hope there are no kids involved. OP also put like a little edit that said, I'm gonna turn off chats. I don't need to be called a doormat or other names. I wouldn't even call OP a doormat. What are you talking about? I'm not going to marriage counseling anymore and I'm leaving him. I don't need to hear I'm spineless over and over. I get it. I didn't really get a part in here that OP was spineless. Like, what do you mean she's spineless? Her husband did something bad behind her back and she left. I don't know, bro. Reddit be redditing. Couple relevant comments. Someone pointed out what I pointed out. So he's using your money and not even taking you. OP said, I don't watch or follow soccer at all. Even if we could afford tickets, I wouldn't go to a game. I do understand your point, but a ticket would be wasted on me. I would just be bored the entire time. Someone said, so congratulations on your new and separate bank account to which he does not have access. OP said, I won't be doing that or anything related to our finances until I speak with a lawyer. Well, at least least I hope your own personal money isn't going to be going into any accounts that he can access. One of my friends went through a divorce and her husband faced consequences in court for separating money and withdrawing financial support, and I do not want that to happen to me. I will only be following advice from my lawyer. Damn. Another person said, sell the tickets on the secondary market, make a loss into a win. Depending on the match, you can make 2 to 3x. OP said, I don't have the tickets. My husband had them, and I have no idea how I could even access them. Now he's telling me he transferred them to either his dad or his brother. He won't say which one because he doesn't want me to be able to ruin this for them. I'm done with him over this. I mean, does his dad or brother know how much of a fucking loser he is? Like, have you told them, hey, I just want you to know you're going to a game paid for with the literal last dollars that we have, even though I told my husband I don't want him to do that. And also he did that behind my back. The next comment basically answers my question. Someone said, tell his father about it. OP replied to that saying his dad doesn't care and neither does his brother. Damn, so he just comes from a family of losers. I guess that kind of makes sense. Another commenter said, the dad and the brother can support him now. If it were me, I'd be locking down finances, freezing credit, closing joint accounts, and stashing money in a new account at a bank or credit union he knows nothing about, and I'll do it all quietly. Then as soon as he leaves for the game, I'd start packing his stuff so he can move it to his dad's or brother's. Financial infidelity is a trust destroyer. You deserve someone who will work for you, not a spongy guy who shows you no respect or appreciation. You're clearly capable. I bet you'll be way better off by this time next year. I agree with that, actually. You don't need this financial anchor weighing you down, girl. OP replied, the World Cup is in June and July. I'm not waiting until then to leave. I'm leaving him now. I'm going to speak to a lawyer and get all my ducks in a row. I want to find out what financial obligations I have towards him before we get divorced. Then she explains the same thing that she explained in a previous comment. I also have to make plans to move because our condo is in both of our names, and I already know I can't force him to leave if he doesn't want to. I will ask the lawyer how to go about that. Damn, that is just a tough situation. Yeah, because there's no way this broke boy loser is going to make this in any way, shape, or form easy for OP. Another person said, report it as fraud to your credit card company. OP said, I did. The credit card company said it isn't fraud because my husband already made payment and confirmed it was his purchase. I'm not giving up, but credit card company won't budge. Damn. This was all premeditated, chat. That's probably the wildest part. Like, he went out of his way to figure out how he can pull this fuck shit behind her back and make sure that there was nothing that she could do about it. Like, what the fuck are we doing? That's so wild, man. I just know Kathy would fucking berate me if I ever pulled some shit like that. Over a soccer game. I just don't understand it, bro. I always come off as an asshole whenever I talk about shit like this because I do it with like cars and fucking everything, but like I just genuinely don't understand the obsession. Like I just don't. I don't understand the obsession to the point of like putting yourself in a financial hole over sports, over cars. It just gives like loser behavior. Like, if you can enjoy the thing without making bad financial decisions, hell yeah, bro, do it. Other than that, like what the fuck are we doing? For what? Kathy might low-key disown you for a minute if you did this. Oh yeah, bro. I think she'd like talk to God and tell him to smite me. Like, I could not imagine, bro. The one thing I would maybe consider spending money on, my dad is a Vikings fan. My dad has given me every opportunity in my life. I am so thankful for him. If the Vikings made it to the Super Bowl and I had money coming out of my ears, I would heavily consider maybe buying us tickets to that. And even then, I would maybe try to get my siblings in on it a little bit. Like, I don't even think I would go. I would just be like, hey, let's get dad a ticket because like he's been waiting a long time to see this shit happen. Like, that's the only thing. And even then, like, I don't even think I would go unless I just had money coming out of my asshole. He probably knows that the marriage counseling isn't going well and figures he could financially trap her by doing this. If she can't afford to leave, she won't leave. You know what, Trini girl? That's actually probably good comms. I'm sure that's exactly what he's doing. I also am a little confused because she mentioned that he was unemployed. I think she implied that he is not unemployed anymore, but this is just such unemployed loser moocher husband activity. Like, dude, if you really care that much about going to the World Cup, a year or two before the World Cup, you should have told your wife, hey babe, I know these tickets are going to be expensive. I want to start saving for this. Can you help me figure out how we can do that? Update nearly 5 months later, July 12th, 2026. It's still ongoing, chat, so I apologize. There's not going to be any conclusive ending here. My update is just a small one, but I have left him and I'm seeking a divorce. I moved out 4 months ago. We had been going to marriage counseling because of how strained things got after he got fired from his job. in parentheses, for the second time during our marriage. Damn. I'm curious what he got fired for. But the World Cup tickets were the nail in the coffin. Before I moved out, he had the gall to complain to me about how we couldn't afford some of his favorites from the grocery store. If it wasn't for me working some overtime, we wouldn't have been able to buy any food at all. I've already hired a lawyer, and since there was no case for a fault divorce, I have to be separated from him for a year in order to get a divorce. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. No case for a fault divorce. This guy pulled out $3,000 they barely had to buy some fuck-ass tickets. I can't believe that's not considered a fault. Call me crazy, y'all. I think that's just as much of a nail in a coffin to a marriage as cheating on someone is. Like, if y'all can't afford that, that puts you in a bad position. Although my lawyer said the only thing filing on a fault ground does is forego the 1-year waiting period. It doesn't affect the settlement or the division of assets. I may have to pay some spousal support since I was the high earner, but it's a small price to pay for getting rid of him. I forgot what I read, and maybe this isn't the same case, but I remember there was some girl talking on Instagram about how her husband was like dragging on their divorce over years, and the lawyer was like, you're not allowed to date anybody in the entire time that you're in this like period of divorce, or else it counts as adultery or whatever. And she was like, fuck that, got a boyfriend, and then they ended up dicking her in court because she technically committed adultery. I don't know, maybe OP's just like locked in and doesn't care about men, but it's just stupid little shit like that where it's like the system is literally built to just be a pain in the ass, especially for women. He doesn't want a divorce. He asked me to stay and continue marriage counseling. He still went to the game, in parentheses, 3 months after I left, while also telling me I should stay. Yeah, fuck that idiot. Also, to address some things from my first post that kept coming up. 1, his dad and brother did not care about him spending our emergency fund on the tickets. His dad, his brother, and his friends thought he was right. What a bunch of fucking losers. 2, we all live in the city where the game was played. No one would have had to get a flight or a hotel. 3, I don't watch soccer, and even if we could have afforded tickets, I wouldn't have gone to the game. My anger was about him draining our emergency fund. It wasn't about me not being invited to the game. 4, instead of going online and buying tickets right when they went on sale, you had to submit a list of which games you wanted tickets for, and if you won any games you applied for, your credit card would automatically get charged. That sounds so fucking sketchy. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. He applied for tickets to every game that is being played in our city, and if he had won all the games instead of just one, the total cost would have been over $12,000. This was enough to tell me that our marriage was over. 5, I am following the advice of my lawyer regarding finances and will not be fully withdrawing financial support as many comments in my first post suggested. I don't want to face consequences in the divorce proceedings and will follow my lawyer's guidance on how to proceed, no matter how much the comments double down on what I should do. That's just so fucked up because OP is gonna have to pay to basically fund this idiot's lifestyle. 6, as I mentioned in my first post, I'm leaving my comments off because I don't need more people calling me spineless or to keep telling me I didn't leave him the correct way. That's such a fucked up thing to do. What do you mean leave him in the correct way? What did you expect her to do? Kill him and hide the body? Like, what are we fucking talking about? To be honest, if she would have done that, I would have understood, by the way. I can't believe idiots like this walk the earth, bro. Like, shit, I'm stupid, but I'm not this stupid. And I really need to every once in a while reassure myself of that, you know? Like, I'm dumb, bro. I want to sit here and work all day, but at least if I had a partner, I'm not gonna take her last $3,000 and spend it on some dumb shit. Just wow, bro. Y'all do a good job choosing your partner. That's all I'll say. If there's anything to take away from this, if your partner starts showing signs of financial irresponsibility and inability to not spend a ridiculous amount of money on stupid shit, you gotta go, bro. But I mean, I don't understand people calling OP spineless for this. Like, it's not like she was like, yeah, there's a history of him pulling this fuck shit on me. She's like, bro got fired twice. I'm sure that has happened in a couple of relationships and it's been fine. What's the stats? Like 60% of divorces are because of finances. Hazel, I would venture to guess it's more than that. My brother-in-law claims he's been dating the same woman for 10 years. She says they haven't spoken in 10 years. Originally posted to r/true off my chest on June 30th, 2026. Oh my God, she's fresh, chat. Let's strap in here. My brother-in-law is in his late 30s and has been supposedly dating the same girl for 10 years. Let's call her Brady. His name is Jim. I don't think I've ever met a girl named Brady, but hell yeah. They met when he was a student teacher, so he was an adult. She was still in high school. So he's been allegedly fake dating a girl straight out of high school. Like, not even specified that she's a senior who's 18 either, which still wouldn't be okay, by the way. She is my age, maybe a year younger, probably 28. Okay, I guess then she was 18, but it's still not a great look, dog. Jim's brother, Dolan, and Brady graduated together, and they did not get along primarily because she ratted Dolan out for something that he claims he did not do. He's a liar sometimes, so I don't know how reliable that is. Fast forward to now, I've never met Brady. I've been with my husband, Bork, Jim's brother, since 2018. Jim has never brought Brady to family reunions, holidays, our weddings, etc. There's always been an excuse. Also note that Jim does not have social media. Jim talks about Brady's niece and nephew all the time, knows all the details about them, has shown us pictures, etc. Has he shown you pictures of them together? Sometimes Jim can't come to family events because he says he's with Brady. My mother-in-law has even said she's heard him talk to her on the phone, shown her pictures, heard him call her sweetie, and says that she's on his phone plan. He's also been able to relate some issues with her that I've had issues with, like my gut health and anxiety and whatnot. He's talked about where she works, what she does, etc. He's talked about moving closer to her. She lives an hour and a half from us. We unfortunately know where this is going. Jim is for sure stalking her. Additionally, a few years ago, we saw Brady's sister and their kids, in parentheses, that he talks about to us all the time, at a pumpkin patch, and Jim bolted the other way, which was weird since that is her sister, and he talked so highly of her and her kids. This is where it gets weird. In October of last year, my husband found a picture on Facebook of a firefighter and Brady kissing at a Halloween party. And since Jim doesn't have social media, my husband sent it to Jim. Jim thanked him and was sad for about 5 months. Jim then proceeded to begin talking about Brady again the last month. At work, he's been telling people, in parentheses, we work in the same building, that they've been together 10 years. Also, me and my husband found out last year that Brady is their third cousin on our dad's side. LOL. Oh my god. This is just the Alabama special, bro. Questionable age gap, person's low-key related to them. Like, what are we doing, bro? And y'all have just been like, chill about this? A few weeks ago, I decided to follow Brady on Instagram and invite her to my son's birthday, as well as introduce myself since, well, I had never met her. I noticed immediately that there are no pictures of her and Jim, and she isn't shy of posting. She replied and said that she has not talked to Jim in 10 years. Jim immediately messages me and tells me not to talk to Brady and thanked me for thinking of her though, and that they were working through some things. Well, that's suspicious. Did she message Jim even though she hasn't talked to him in 10 years? Or does Jim have access to her social media accounts and saw her messaging OP? Yo, family, come get your brother. This dude's a weirdo. I messaged Brady back and said, LMFAO, I am so sorry. I thought y'all were together. He talks about you all the time. Jim immediately texts me again and tells me to block her. Bro, he has access to her accounts. Holy red flag. She messages me back and said, that's okay. What does he say about me? Oh, girl's trying to get the tea. And I told her just general things about her niece and nephew since they're the same age as our kids, her health and how it related to mine, and how we have similar nicknames from Jim and my husband. She left me on red. She's getting that evidence and running straight to the police station, and I don't blame her. Jim came by my office at work the next day and said that he was sorry for that interaction I had with her. In parentheses, not sure if he knows she told me they hadn't talked in 10 years and that she was so overwhelmed by the kind gesture of me reaching out that she didn't know how to react. He said her mom called and said she was so upset and that she might have to go console Brady. What fuck shit is he telling OP right now? She was so overwhelmed by the kind gesture that she didn't know how to react. What the fuck? OP, please tell me this is raising red flags. This makes no sense. Jim seemed nervous during the whole conversation with me in person. He wouldn't make eye contact and kept seeming like he was searching for words during that whole interaction. He then told my husband something completely different. Jim told him that she was overwhelmed by me messaging her. Doesn't explain why she told me it's been 10 years since Jim and her have talked. Just left the conversation at that. Since then, Jim has been distant from the family, but he did mention her randomly the other day. In parentheses, very specific detail about her dog. Girl, I'm sorry, the writing's on the wall. Like, even if you hadn't put it together before writing this post, I feel feel like writing this post is putting everything into one spot and being like, that's suspicious. That's weird as hell. I did message her cousin in parentheses, which I'm friends with her friend, and she was flabbergasted by all of this, saying that Brady had several guys home and to family functions over the last years, and that she even had one recently, and that she hasn't mentioned Jim since they were supposedly secretly dating when she was underage. And he was an adult student teaching at her school, and we're just casually okay with that. Hey, I know we've been woefully aware of the fact that this guy in our family has been grooming this woman, but we all were just like, that's Jim for you. Like, what? What is going on here? My husband doesn't want to touch this issue with a 10-foot stick because the thought of his brother being insane is maddening to him. Girl, he was insane before. I need to chill. I need to calm down. You know what? Actually, just kidding. I feel like this is one of those cases where I can be mad. Yes, you're right. There is some hanky-panky going on here, but like, y'all are acting like this is a surprise. Surprise, surprise. The guy who is down to groom a high schooler is a bad dude doing shady shit. Hope he follows this up with, this entire family has some loose screws. I mean, you're in the family too, bro. My husband is the only one that seems normal. What are your thoughts? Are there any subreddits I can cross-post to? Any theories? Any thoughts from outsiders are welcome, LOL. I feel like this is a Dateline episode. And no, I'm not nosy. I'm just too far deep into this to back off because if my brother-in-law is a sociopath, I'd love to know, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I mean, I feel like you could have put that one together just from the grooming thing, but like, I can't hyper fixate on that because that's not the focus on this, but like, hey man, can we just be more like aware of the fact that like grooming is not okay? Please. I feel like that's not even a huge ask, please. The third cousin thing is just fucking crazy. Holy shit. We know what's happening here, right? This dude is for sure stalking her. I don't know, man. Call me crazy. I feel like the family's been ignoring some signs. Obviously, like hindsight's 2020. They wrote the story with all the red flags condensed into one, but like, I feel like y'all were letting it slide, especially with the line about your husband. The thought of his brother being insane is maddening to him. Like, we've had indicators, man. Grooming, okay with dating his third cousin, all of like the random things that have been popping up. That's like, this woman has not been attending your guys' family events. Like, come on, dude. I don't even know what you do. Can you get arrested for that, chat? I guess we're probably gonna have to know more about what he's done, but it sounds like this guy's been stalking her for 10 years. I mean, there's no way after 10 years that there's not like insane evidence on his hard drive. I guess at this point, it's more if the police take this serious. Sarby, dating your third cousin is completely legal in the US. Just because it's legal doesn't mean you should do it. I'm not saying he should get arrested for it, but I think if the family figures that out, you guys shouldn't just laugh it off. All right, chat, let's see these comments. What are the people saying? Commenter 1, maybe her mom has another account and pretends to be her. Really? That's where you went to? But if he says he sees her in person, then maybe he is a creepy stalker or has had some sort of delusional breakdown. I mean, girl, the way that he reacted when you guys saw Brady's sister at the pumpkin patch, or I don't even remember what it was, and then he ran away. The writing is on the wall. This is not where my brain went to. Something isn't right here. Maybe he is gay or has some other secret and doesn't want you to know, so he made up a girlfriend. Hey, yeah, guys, I decided to create a beard for myself, and the beard that I'm gonna give it is this high schooler that I'm grooming. What? You could just make it up, and then your family can't check, and it could not be a high schooler. I'm very shocked that, I mean, I guess this is one comment on the post. I have to check. Were people on the original post like, hey, dog, the fuck? Oh, we're just ignoring the grooming in the comments. Okay. Didn't know that's how Reddit fucked around. Are we just overlooking that shit? I guess I'm the only person who has a problem with this, man. All right, well, I'll go fuck myself. What is happening? We just have to keep reading, bro. I have nothing to say. My brain's broken. OP responded to the comment that I just read. I do think since he claimed she's on his phone plan, that the mom has been pretending to be Brady this whole time. And since he may be desperate and so obsessed with her, he may be okay not ever seeing her. And she just strings him along. I don't know. The mom was mentioned once. He said her mom called and said she was so upset and that she might have to go console Brady. Really? That's what we're pulling out of this? I guess that's a possibility, but that is not where I think this is going, you guys. How do you catfish someone for 10 years? That doesn't explain why he was acting so sus. Y'all, to me, this makes no sense. It makes no sense that he's getting catfished because number one, he's not on social media. Well, actually, that might help the case. Fuck, dude, I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. Like, to me, the obvious answer is your brother-in-law is stalking this woman and y'all are just blind to it. it. We have to read the update, you guys. Fuck, this is ongoing. No, we're not gonna get closure, chat. We have to keep an eye on this one, bro. Okay, update on the same day. Well, y'all were right. It somehow got even weirder. I reached back out to Brady one last time because I honestly felt bad for dragging her into this. I just wanted to make sure she was okay and that this wasn't some blink twice if you need help situation. She basically said, no, I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just really confused why he's still talking about me. She told me she's had zero contact with Jim in about 10 years and has absolutely no intention of ever speaking to him again. She said she was genuinely creeped out that he knows so much about her life. She also told me she wasn't upset with me at all. She was uncomfortable because of him. Then I asked her how Jim could possibly know all these insanely specific details about her life. I'm talking about her nieces and nephews, her dog, her old job, her health issues, and the fact that he has told all of us they're still dating, that she's on his phone plan, and that he's literally pretended to talk to her on the phone in front of his own family. To that, she said, what the fuck? None of that is true. I don't even have his phone number. Apparently, the only explanation she could come up with was maybe her mom had been talking to Jim over the years. So she called her mom right after I messaged her that, in parentheses, which I guess explains why he knew so fast. And her mom admitted they've stayed in touch and just talked about life. Which, what? Brady said she was completely blindsided by that and got into a huge argument with her mom because she feels like her privacy has been totally violated. What the actual fuck? What have we stumbled onto, chat? This happens a lot more often than you think. Huh? This is the first time I've ever heard this. What do you mean? So, like, let me put this into words, y'all. So Jim groomed this high schooler. At some point, they broke things off, but then the high schooler's mom said, huh, you know what I should do? I should fake being my daughter for 10 years to lead on her groomer. I mean, even more than groomer, because they were actually dating. Like, who knows what they did? I don't even know what to say. Let me just finish this shit. I mentioned that Jim had recently brought up her dog and some random story about one of her friends, in parentheses, literally the other day, accidentally feeding him grapes. Brady said, yeah, that actually happened, but I only told my family and close friends about that. She asked me to please let her know if Jim keeps talking about her because she wants to know if this continues. At this point, I honestly don't know what to think. I will share, though, that after the first interaction with her when we were all talking about it as a family, in parentheses, me, husband, mother-in-law, and Dolan, for y'all that forgot, Dolan is the younger brother of OP's husband and of Jim that was in the same grade as Brady. Apparently her mom, in parentheses, according to my mother-in-law, is kind of crazy. I didn't believe it at first because it doesn't make sense, but apparently she's obsessed with her daughters and posts all of their pictures that she posts. In parentheses, which I guess explains where Jim has been getting the pictures from the mom. And we all joke that maybe Jim is being catfished by the mom, but I think maybe the mom is so obsessed with her daughters, she shares everything with everyone. And maybe Jim has taken this information and created a fake relationship with her and casually asks for pictures and updates on the family. I don't know. I'm confused and tired. Girl, I'm confused and tired. All right, chat, I'm gonna say something. It might be super fucked up for me to say this, but I'll say it. Even though we do not fuck with what the mom did, we do not fuck with the fact that her daughter was groomed. I want to make that very clear. That being said, it sounds like this mom kept Jim from grooming another high schooler surrounded by people who are completely okay with that, which I guess I should not hard focus on, but I'm still really fucking upset about. So, like, low-key W mom? I don't know. I'm so conflicted. You know what? Just kidding. Everyone sucks here. I'm confused. I want to go home. I am home, but I want to go home. That's right, Sarby. Find that silver lining in the mushroom cloud. I mean, you said it best, bro. This is truly a mushroom cloud. Talk about an absolute shit show. Just a story where, like, nobody did anything right, except for maybe Brady. At the end of the day, Brady is the victim. Hold on, you guys. There's comments. What the fuck are people saying? Someone said, so wait, is Jim secretly with Brandy's mom? OP said, that's my theory. Commenter 2 said, oh man, is Brandy's mom... Was it Brandy the entire time and I was saying Brady? No. Chat, I feel like I've entered the Twilight Zone with this one. I genuinely feel like I entered the Twilight Zone where Reddit's completely fine with grooming. Some way, somehow, commenters didn't go to, oh, your brother-in-law is stalking that woman, and they went straight to, your brother-in-law is getting catfished by the mom based off of one singular line. That to me sounded like a lie. I thought bro was lying. And now everybody's all of a sudden calling her Brandy Brandy, I've genuinely feel like nothing makes sense. Like I'm about to wake up from a fucking dream, bro. Probably a typo on Commodore 2's part. Bro, it's two separate people. Oh, no, just kidding. Oh my God, thank God. I thought this was Commodore 1 and Commodore 2. Oh my God, thank fucking God. You're right, it is a typo. Just kidding. I thought it was two separate Commodores. I was about to lose my shit. Commodore 2, oh man, is Brady's mom married? OP said yes, but not sure if it's happily married or just married, LOL. I mean, chat, we have no choice but to see if this person posted again. There's no other updates, bro. Sarby is losing his marbles. No, actually though, bro, I'm actually losing my mind. This is crazy. I mean, to be completely fair, guys, Brandy makes way more sense. Chat, if you guys see any more posts from this person, I need y'all to update me. This is the craziest story I've ever read, I think. Or maybe not craziest, but just like the most like, what is happening? My brain is hurt. I'm genuinely speechless, chat. I don't think we could have picked a more like, what the helly story. Genuinely, what a roller coaster. And they predicted it. That's what I'm most sus about, low-key, chat. I'm like, how the hell did they predict that? That for sure was not my thought process on that one. Well, I'll take the L on it. My aunt didn't invite me to her wedding while inviting my brothers and other cousins. We have a 15 female OP, 33 female aunt, 18 and 13 male brothers. Original post, July 7th, 2016. I'm just very upset now because my aunt's wedding is soon and I learned that I can't go to the wedding because she didn't invite me. I have a physical disability and I need crutches, but I can handle myself. The invitation to our family says my parents and my brothers. My dad talked to my aunt and she thought the venue isn't friendly and comfortable for me, and that's why she didn't invite me. If that's the only reason, isn't that something I should decide? Maybe I can handle myself in that venue. Maybe my brother and my dad will help me if I needed help. She excluded me because I have a disability. My parents told me that I need to understand that it's her wedding and she gets to decide who comes and I can't be upset and I should respect her decision. Nah, bro. I mean, okay, yes, you're right, but I think you as family members have to point that out, that like, oh, you're not inviting her because she's disabled and you're inviting everybody else. That's fucked up. We're not going. And that's a really shitty thing for you to do. Like, if it's her wedding and she wants to be ableist, I guess she can do that, but you sure as shit as parents better back your disabled daughter the fuck up. I told him that if she thinks I'm not good enough to be at her wedding, then I don't want to see her or talk to her again. But they tell me that I should continue to be a good niece and respect her and be friendly with her. I don't understand why. Yeah, your parents are fucked up. Do I have a right to be upset and not want to talk to her again? I mean, I think so. Fuck this aunt. What are the comments saying, bro? I mean, this is 2016, so this shit could be a war zone, honestly. Okay, so the top comment is somebody giving OP a reply to the parents. Mom and Dad, I thought about what you said and you are absolutely right. This is the aunt's wedding. She gets to decide who comes and I should respect her decision. But of course, at the same time, this is my life and I get to decide who I spend time with and choose to have a relationship with. And you and the aunt must also respect that decision. So since the aunt chose not to invite me to her wedding and you guys are choosing to go without me and not stick up for me as a member of your family, as well as pressuring my brothers to do the same, you should expect that the consequences of those decisions is that my relationship with both the aunt and you will suffer. Exactly. To be honest, guys, this might be controversial. I'm actually more mad about the parents than about the aunt. Like, fuck the aunt. She sounds like a bitch. But like, if you're a parent of a disabled child and your disabled child is being excluded for their disability and you're okay with that, you're a fucking asshole. You are a absolute loser of a parent and you don't deserve any of your kids, let alone that kid. Like, you should be telling your aunt to go fuck herself and that relationship should be damaged. If I had a disabled kid and any of my siblings wanted to exclude that kid from their wedding because of their disability, I would go no contact ASAP Rocky. And I fucking mean that. I also know that my siblings are not fucking evil, so they wouldn't do that. Or if I started talking to them about it, they talked through it. I just refuse to believe my siblings are that evil at all. Update, July 19th, 2016, 12 days later. Please tell me your parents have come to their senses. I'm just begging. I talked to my parents a little more and they decided to invite my aunt over so that her and I can have a face-to-face conversation. So that night came. It was supposed to be me, my aunt, and my parents, but I thought 3 against 1 is unfair, so I insisted that my older brother be there too. Oh, interesting. Is your older brother on your side? W older brother, by the way. At least someone in this family is advocating for OP. It was so awkward. At the beginning, everyone was silent until I asked if she can explain why she didn't invite me when she invited everyone else in our family. She repeated the same answer, that she thought it would be difficult and uncomfortable for me. I asked how. She couldn't give an example. My brother told her that we checked with the venue and it's wheelchair accessible, in parentheses, which isn't even needed as I only need my crutches. But that shows even people with even more severe disabilities are able to use that venue. And they've had weddings where the bride or groom have been on a wheelchair. She didn't say anything, but then said once again that she thinks it will be difficult for me to be there and not being able to enjoy the wedding like everyone else, and it will be psychologically difficult, and that's what she meant. Yeah, she pitied me. I think this is complete and utter bullshit. She's ableist. She just doesn't want you there. I asked if she pities me. She said it's not pity, it's genuine concern for my well-being. She doesn't want me to see other girls my age do the things I can't do and feel jealous and inadequate. Okay, so like even if that's true, OP goes to school and sees girls her age do the things she can't all the time, like gonna be no different at this wedding? Ah, yes, put her in a bubble. That will surely protect her if we isolate her and make her miserable. At least she won't be seeing other people doing things she can't do. Surely the answer isn't figure out how she can exist in this world happy in the situation that she's in. No, 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 no. We must isolate and hide her from everybody. God, it's just such a boomer ass fucking mindset. My brother asked if she knows what I can or can't do since she's never been actively part of my support. She said she had a good idea. She talked to her husband about it and they made this decision together. At that time I said, thank you, Mrs. her husband's last name, and left. My brother also followed me with goodbye, Mrs. her husband's last name. My dad asked us to come back and address her the right way as aunt her name, but my brother said not our aunt anymore. Damn! Yeah! I love your brother. Your brother sounds like a cool ass dude. I'm really happy that he took my side. But later I learned that my parents still intend to go to the wedding. They wanted to take our little brother too, but once he heard we're not going, he joined us in exile. Yes! Oh, so many W siblings. This is what being a sibling's all about, by the way. Like, this is the exact same shit that me and my siblings would do. What is that shit from that movie? No, I'm Spartacus or whatever. What am I trying to quote? It is Spartacus. Okay, yeah. It is the Spartacus shit. I love it. I love it. I think he's too young to understand everything here, but when the other two kids are rebelling, I think he joins us out of principle. I don't know if they will take him in the end or not, but for now, he doesn't want to go. My parents disappointed me. It feels like a betrayal. I can't see how they can hear what my aunt said to me and not come to my defense. I mean, I can see they're bad parents. If they listen to that entire fucking thing that your aunt pulled and didn't go, this smells fishy, they're a bunch of dumbasses. Like, this would genuinely absolutely hurt my relationship with my family. I would be like, that's so fucked up of you. This generation ain't about that stupid keep the peace bullshit. It's time to make waves, baby. I don't know who is related to this aunt, the mother or the father, but either way, you gotta figure out your fuck shit in your family, dog. We do not fuck with that shit in the big old year. Well, I guess this is 2016, but back then we didn't fuck with it. And now in 2026, 10 years later, we don't fuck with it. God, I love the sibling. Like, that's just what being a sibling is about, chat. If you're a youngin' and you're not that close with your siblings, I would strongly urge you to go out of your way to try to build a relationship with your siblings. My close relationship with my 3 siblings, there is nothing that I value more in this world than that. I truly mean that. Like, we're all gonna go hang out with each other in October, and it is like one of the biggest things I'm most excited for upcoming this year, because like that's how much I just love my fucking siblings. They're built-in best friends, bro. Assuming your sibling isn't just an awful person, I really urge you to like make connections with your siblings and spend time with them if you have the chance, right? Obviously, if they're a bad person, that's a different story, but especially if you're kids though, they can grow out of that, you know? Am I the a-hole for cutting off my daughter after she slept with her sister's husband? Oh, posted to r/am I the a-hole relationships on July 3rd, 2026. Damn, this one's fresh. I, 59 female, have 2 daughters, Emma, 35 female, and Chloe, 33 female. Emma has been married to her husband, 36 male, for 11 years, and they have 2 children together. No, not the kids. Oh, that's terrible. Chloe has been married to her husband, 34 male, for 8 years, and they have 1 5-year-old son. Damn. So not only are there kids involved in the affair side, but also like the person, like there's kids on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Oh, dear Lord. How do you explain that to your kids growing up? About 6 weeks ago, Emma called me just after midnight, completely hysterical. She told me she'd suspected for months that her husband was hiding something. He'd become distant, constantly guarding his phone, and was always finding excuses to stay late at work. That night, after he fell asleep beside her, she looked through his phone for the first time. She found years of explicit messages between him and Chloe. The affair had been going on for almost 4 years. That's like half the time that Chloe's been married. Oh my God. Emma was devastated. She kept asking me how her own sister could do this to her. A few days later, we were at my brother's birthday party when Emma confronted Chloe outside. Ooh, not the place to do that. I mean, I get it, but not the place. Chloe denied everything at first and insisted Emma had misunderstood. When Emma said she'd read the messages herself, Chloe completely fell apart. She started crying, admitting the affair, and kept repeating, I don't know why I did it. I'm so sorry. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Okay, it's really not. If like you're really not that sorry and you don't think it's the biggest mistake of your life if you've been doing this for 4 fucking years. Oh yeah, Emma asked how 4 years could possibly be a mistake. Chloe had no answer. No, for real, like holy copium. You can't be like, it's the biggest mistake of my life that I've been doing for 4 years. Like, shut up. Nah, bro, you're just a really fucking bad person. But I will say at the brother's birthday party is crazy. Like, can you imagine being OP's brother? Like, yes, I get to celebrate my birthday. It's such a good day. And then like his nieces are having a whole meltdown because one of them is sleeping with the other's husband. Like, The argument escalated into a screaming match. Chloe tried to slap Emma. What? Why the fuck is Chloe slapping Emma? Emma should be slapping Chloe. Chloe tried to slap Emma, but several relatives stepped in before she could. Chloe's husband quietly took their son home after realizing what had happened. Oh yeah, that husband is innocent too, bro. Damn. Within days, he told Chloe he wanted a divorce. Emma also filed for divorce after her husband admitted everything. Chat, what if this gets more messy and Emma and Chloe's husband get together? Holy insane story. I hope that's not where this is going. I don't think that's the answer at all. After it all came out, Chloe called me 82 times in one day. I answered once because I hoped she was calling to explain herself. Instead, she cried the entire time, begging me not to abandon her. She said she'd already lost her husband, was probably going to lose shared custody of her son, and couldn't bear losing her mother too. She said she knew she didn't deserve forgiveness, but begged me not to hate her forever. I told her I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. I said this wasn't one decision, it was years of lying to her sister, her husband, and the rest of us. No, for real, don't get me wrong, cheating in and of itself is bad and terrible, but like cheating in like a moment of weakness, while still bad, not as bad as cheating for 4 years fucking straight. And also, like, if that's the case, why continue to stay married to these people and cheat for 4 years? Like, dude, that's longer than most relationships last. And if you're doing it for 4 years straight, like at that point, you guys are probably into each other. You should get divorced anyways. I told her I loved her because she's my daughter, but I didn't want contact with her for the foreseeable future. Since then, I've ignored every attempt she's made to reach out. This is where my family thinks I'm wrong. My sisters say Chloe has already lost everything. Her marriage, her relationship with her sister, many of her friends, and likely the family she's dreamed of giving her son. They say she's genuinely remorseful, has started individual therapy, and isn't trying to justify what she did. They argue that if a mother won't stand by her child after they've hit rock bottom, who will? I mean, I think that should just say everything about how much they fucked up. And like, hey dog, Chloe has already lost everything. Yeah, and that's her fault. I'm kind of with OP. Like, part of her punishment is, hey bro, I'm going with the sibling that didn't cheat, didn't betray their own sister for 4 years. I'm sorry you have a problem with that. Maybe you should have thought about that before you cheated with your sister's husband for 4 years. They also reminded me that cutting Chloe off means my grandson is growing up without his grandmother, even though he's done nothing wrong. I understand all of that, but every time I think about welcoming Chloe back in my life, I picture Emma reading those messages alone in the middle of the night, realizing that 2 of the people she trusted most had been lying to her for years. Yeah, bro, Emma's gonna need some insane therapy after this. Holy shit. And like, I think if the mother was forgiving of Chloe, that would just make Emma push OP away. Why create any reason for distance with the person who needs the most support and did nothing wrong, instead of the person who threw a whole fucking nuclear warhead into the entire family? I don't know if I can move past that. My family says I'm punishing Chloe forever for something she already deeply regrets. I feel like I'm simply refusing to pretend it never happened. Am I the a-hole? I know a lot of people are used to seeing cheating posts and always thinking they're fake, but what would you do if you were in my shoes? I mean, you guys know me. I'm a firm believer of like enduring the consequences of the actions that you took when it comes to doing people absolutely insanely dirty to an unforgivable level. I feel like this is it. I feel like this is another case when like Chloe should be unforgivable from every side of the family. Like, I would even argue that, hey, maybe you should evaluate if you want to keep around the family that are like giving her a free pass, because what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? You're like, oh, she's remorseful and like really sad about what she did, even though she did it for 4 fucking years to the people that she's supposed to be the most loyal to, her husband and her sister. I'm sorry, I don't think we should just like breeze by that. I don't think there should be like a time frame on when I can forgive you for doing that. Like, that is an insane insane breach of trust that nobody should get back from. Emma should never forgive them, and I don't think OP should. Like, this is OP's family that she is lighting a bomb in. The grandchild can still be in the picture. That's how I feel too, Elster Stairs. Like, I think OP should go out of their way to be like reaching out to the husband of Chloe and being like, hey, I've cut off Chloe. I'm sorry for what she did to you. We do not condone that. I would still love a relationship with my grandchild if possible. You should have that level of a relationship with that in-law, in my opinion. Sarby, that is her daughter. Okay. I still stand on business, bro. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but like what? Oh, it's her daughter. She should just look that off. I don't know, bro. I know it's controversial. I know a lot of people didn't agree with me on being like, hey, I don't think that guy who was kicked out at 16 should have forgiven his dad. I think it's the same thing here, bro. Like, I think it's just like, do you really want to give that person another chance in your life when they did you so ungodly dirty, doing something that I feel like doesn't deserve forgiveness? Listen, if you were in the same situation and you want to do that, that's fine, bro. I can't stop you. But I'm going to sit here and tell people, especially OP in this situation, hey, you're not making the wrong choice in wanting to cut her off forever. I really don't care that it's her daughter. Like, that makes everything worse. Ton, exactly. Emma is her daughter too. Exactly. Like, you got to go with the daughter who's the victim here, not the daughter that is the one that caused the issues. As a mom, I can't imagine having to choose between my boys. For sure. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong necessarily. My mind went AWOL. But me personally, I would encourage OP to not contact Chloe. Bare minimum low contact, but like, Chloe shouldn't be coming to family functions. Chloe should get no prioritization over Emma. And like, for a while, Chloe should endure no contact because she committed an action that should result in drastic consequences. And I think this is just part of it. And I also think OP's priority should be helping Emma heal and helping Emma feel secure. And there's nothing that's going to make Emma feel more insecure in her support system right now than if the mother just goes, well, Chloe's my daughter. I guess I gotta still keep in contact with her and still hear her out. Like, if anything, I think it really would come down to like, how does Emma feel about you contacting Chloe, right? Like, I'm sure she doesn't feel great about it. For a while, absolutely, just not forever. I don't know, man. I think if there's ever a forever stamp on this, this is it. I'm not saying that you have to do that, right? Like, I think that's the thing that people were getting so up in arms with about me saying that he shouldn't, like, whatever, is like, I was just saying me personally, bro. Like, if my friend comes up to me and they're a victim in any case, I'm encouraging them to like hard cut it off. Because if you don't, then you are just leaving open availability for somebody to like do that to you again or do you dirty again, you know? Like, I'm just of the firm belief, if someone shows you their true colors, cut them out. If someone does you wrong, they're not owed forgiveness from you. Yeah, when people show you who they are, believe them. That's how I feel, Bouncy Ball. I get that some people can change and whatnot. Like, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I think it's just safer to not go about letting people who do crazy heinous shit like what Chloe did or what that dad from that previous story did. I just don't think as the people who were abused, you should just hands washed back in my life. Like, you're basically just giving them another opportunity to betray you. And they might not, but I think that's just a waste of your time. And I would encourage anybody who not do that. If she could do something like this, she could do anything. That's how I feel too, Cottonmouth Queen. Chloe really tried to downplay her actions and try to make it seem not that bad. That's how I feel. I'm sorry, girl. 4 years? Insane. Let's look at some of these relevant comments, chat. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. Not the a-hole. She's not genuinely remorseful. She's sad she got caught and is facing consequences. Ding, 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 ding. Can't you have a relationship with your grandson via his father? Tell your sisters to mind their own businesses between you and your daughters. Nothing to do with them. Agreed. Also, question if you should talk to those sisters still. OP, I can kind of have a relationship with him, but the problem is that he wants his child to grow up closer to his own family who lives in another city rather than his ex-wife's family. Based off of that, even if you did keep contact with Chloe, you probably still wouldn't have this child in your life. Like, I think all you can really do is reach out to him and just really communicate to him that like you do not condone what Chloe did and you would love to still have a relationship with the grandson, you know? I think that's all you can do in this situation, man. Commenter 2, I mean, I personally can't think of anything my kid would do that would cause me to cut her off permanently, but I would probably take a break for a while to organize my feelings. Wait, so if y'all's kids like committed murder, that wouldn't do it for y'all? Because low key for me, I think that would do it for sure. There is 10,000% nothing that could happen that would make me willing to cut off my grandkid. What Chloe did was unforgivable, but I would ask you, how would you feel if something happened to Chloe right now? How would you feel? If you don't feel anything, then you have your answer answer about what you want to do. Okay, this is dumb and high-key manipulative. Am I crazy for saying that, chat? Like, this is what your mom says to you when they're like deeply unhealed and they're like, well, what if I died tomorrow and you went to bed mad at me and you weren't willing to concede to what my demands because you're stubborn and you don't listen and you went to bed and I died tomorrow. That is the most insanely manipulative comms from probably like what I just described as like a mother who would do this to their kid. And also like their reading comprehension is just like at 0 for me because at no point did OP say that she wanted to cut off her grandkid. I never got a read that was like, fuck Chloe and fuck seeing my grandkid anymore. Like she was genuinely like, okay, I would definitely love to see my grandkid. That'd be pretty damn cool. What did OP reply to that? It depends on what happens to her. If she's struggling with her mental health or got into an accident, I would obviously come help her like a mother would. I admit I might have been harsh when I told her the foreseeable future, but I was thinking of my daughter Emma and how she would be feeling right now. I love both my daughters equally from the moon and back, but I'm just torn at this decision. Okay, really? Your love wasn't a little bit tainted by one of your daughters doing the other one dirty? Like, I think it's okay to be like, okay, this is my daughter and there will be some love here, but like, you can diminish love. I genuinely would kind of see this as cheating, chat. Yeah, let me just keep going here. Commenter 3, not the a-hole. You have a daughter that has been completely destroyed by her own sister and her own husband. She's the one that needs your support, not the one that chose to cheat on her husband with her own sister's husband. She made the conscious decision for 4 years. That's not forgivable in my eyes. She made the decision. She can face her own consequences. I'm sure her soon-to-be ex-husband will still allow you to be part of your grandson's life. Reach out to him and let him know you are not speaking to Chloe and just be there for Emma and her kids. Opie said, thank you so much. I have reached out to him, but haven't heard anything back yet. Man, that's sad. I mean, I guess it's probably a sore spot for him, so I understand. And he's probably in such a bad place. But like, I think it is kind of not the right move to like keep your kid from their grandparent when your partner cheats. You know what I'm saying, you guys? Just sad, man. OOP responds to a long comment on if it's possible for Chloe to lose full custody of her kid because she cheated. OP said she might not. Her ex-husband wants to move far away from all of this. He wants to move to his own side of the family, which lives in a different city. It would be hard for Chloe to be there for her son unless she moves with him or gets an apartment there, which I don't think she would do unless she really wants to see her son. I mean, y'all, I'm never pro abandon your child, obviously, but I feel like part of her consequences are now her relationship with her son is gonna be strained no matter what. Like, bro, this kid is gonna need so much therapy. There's no way he doesn't grow up and learn what happened. That poor kid, bro. Like, he's gonna grow up and this is gonna be the story of like his parents' divorce. And it just doesn't create a very amicable situation to co-parent a kid. A Commodore 4, so she would rather lose her son than move to be near him. There's nothing on this earth that would have prevented me from fighting tooth and nail to keep my kids. How far away is his family? She can absolutely file an emergency stay order to keep the kids locally until the custody is settled, and wronged by her or not. Most courts will put the children's needs first. Okay, why are we fucking arguing for her, bro? Call me fucking crazy, but I'm gonna side with the guy who just got cheated on by his wife for 4 years with his brother-in-law, like an absolute nuclear warhead that also, by the way, came out at like a birthday party in front of everyone. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm siding with that guy. Like, if that guy needs to move closer to his family for support right now because his whole world's been rocked, I'm gonna side with him. And low-key, if Chloe did all this shit, she's a bad person. You blew up his life. You make accommodations to him. Why are we arguing for her? Courts tend to prioritize joint custody regardless of what dad or mom thinks, unless one parent is willing to sign rights away. She needs a lawyer ASAP. If she's willing to walk away from her son without a fight, then he is better off without her. And that tells me a little bit more about her character, and it makes me less sympathetic to her than I already was. OOP said we are in Florida and his family is in Washington. Okay, if there's anywhere where this story is gonna happen, it's in Florida, Chad. Holy shit. That is almost as far as you possibly can get from one end of the country to the other, man. I mean, listen, like, should Chloe still want to be in her son's life? Yes, but she kind of has to do it, in my opinion, on the husband's terms. Because if she further makes this divorce messy and then this kid learns one day what she did, that kid is never gonna talk to his mom. Okay, I'm not gonna read the rest of these comments because they're basically not the a-hole and then everything that we've already been saying. I think everybody's on the same page in the comments though, that like there's no way Chloe's genuinely remorseful. You can't be like, oh, I was doing this for 4 years and I'm genuinely remorseful for it. The only thing she's remorseful for is the fact that they got caught. Wait, is somebody actually on YouTube calling this kidnapping? I didn't hear the whole thing with taking a kid to a different state is kidnapping. Guys, this is like the same discussion as the bucket of water thing of like, yes, technically it's kidnapping, bro. Technically her pouring a bucket of water on someone is assault. But like, it's nuance, chat. It's nuance of what's happening. Is like, to me, him being like, I need to relocate my child to a different place because now this place just reminds me, hey, my wife cheated on me for 4 years with her sister's husband. To me, yeah, technically it's kidnapping, but I feel like we should be like, okay, in this case, we can just chalk it up to like, bro needs to get the fuck out of this place. But yes, technically, I guess it's kidnapping, but like the law isn't always right, chat. Just like I'm like, hey, I think it's a stretch to call this assault in this case scenario. I think it's the same thing here. Like if Chloe's truly remorseful, she is letting the husband move the kid to Washington and she's following them because she feels bad that she's put them in this place. If she fights for custody of her kid and like tells the courts that he's trying to kidnap the kid, she's a dickhead. Okay, update July 6, 2026, 3 days later. Really quickly, I wanted to remind you guys that I do live stream these reads over on Twitch. If you guys would like to be a part of that and potentially be featured in the video, go over to my Twitch, linked in the description. Okay, back to the story. After reading the comments on my first post, I decided I needed one final conversation with Chloe before I completely closed the door. I went to her house yesterday and I expected her to be emotional after calling me 82 times in one day, but she was surprisingly calm. I asked her the one question I still couldn't understand: why? She admitted she'd been attracted to Emma's husband for years. She said what started as admiration eventually became feelings, and over time they crossed the line. Instead of ending it, they kept convincing themselves it would be the last time. She insisted she regretted everything. I asked if she'd spoken to Emma. She told me the only contact she had was one text before Emma blocked her on everything. Emma told her she'd destroyed their family, taken away her children's stable home, and that she hoped the affair had been worth losing a sister forever because, as far as she was concerned, Chloe no longer had one. Damn bars. Emma blocked her immediately afterward. I'm sorry, bro. Instead of ending it, they kept convincing themselves it would be the last time for 4 years is fucking insane. And even then, still doesn't make it okay. Cheating with your sibling's partner is like way up here in terms of what could ever possibly be forgiven. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't cheat on anybody. But if there's anybody to prioritize in the tier of not cheating with them, it should be a family member's partner. Call me crazy for that. Yeah, Emma got betrayed on both fronts. No, for real. She got fucking flanked from both sides. Chloe also admitted she later waited outside the school gates hoping to speak to Emma when she came to collect the kids. Emma refused to speak with her, warned her to stay away from her and the children, and told her that if she ever approached them again, she'd regret it. Chloe left crying. Chat, I think we should also keep in mind that when this whole confrontation happened, Chloe was the one who tried to smack Emma. Like, that in and of itself is crazy to me. The argument escalated into a screaming match. Chloe tried to slap Emma. Like, how insane is that? Can we bring it in here for a second? You're telling me Chloe has been doing her sister absolutely dirty for 4 fucking years and is finally getting called out on it, and her reaction is to slap her sister? Like, girl, you should be telling your sister to slap you. And now we on some creepy stalker shit? Like, come on. I told Chloe her waiting outside the school was completely inappropriate regardless of her intentions. She insisted she only wanted to apologize and prove she cared about Emma. I then asked if she truly felt remorse. That's when I completely lost my patience. Instead of taking full responsibility, Chloe started telling me Emma's marriage had already been falling apart, that Emma and her husband had been drifting apart for years, and that he often confided in her. She admitted the affair was wrong, but repeatedly tried to place part of the blame on Emma, saying if their marriage had been happier, none of this would have happened. I was furious. Bro, this is like the fucking salon girl that we just reacted to. Can't take any responsibility or accountability for the actions that you put in place that put you in the situation that you're in. No, 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 no. It's actually your sister's fault for not having a healthy marriage with the guy who was willing to fucking cheat on her with her sister. Like, the mental gymnastics of that is fucking insane. I genuinely think, chat, it must be so blissful to be this stupid. Like, that must just be pure bliss to not be able to take any accountability for your actions and come to the conclusion, oh yes, everything is perfectly fine because nothing is ever my fault and I am entitled to everybody else catering to me and my needs. Like, what are we talking about? Also, look at beautiful boy. What a regal SOB. Here, I'll move this way. Oh, look at those paws, bro. What a pribby kibby. Yeah, we're talking about you, Beans. Oh, he debating great ascent. Oh, he make great ascent. Wow. he takes his rightful place as king of the castle. Beans show booty hole. You guys are crazy. Let me show you my cat without you guys freaking out, bro. Sarby can't show hole, he'll get banned. Not with that attitude. No, you're right, I can't do that. I honestly couldn't believe I had raised someone capable of thinking like that. I told her there's no marriage bad enough to justify secretly sleeping with your own sister's husband for 4 years. I told her I wasn't just disappointed, I was ashamed that she was my daughter. Damn! OP dropping bars. The more she tried to justify herself, the angrier I became. The conversation eventually turned to her own divorce. She talked about how difficult everything has been for her and how her husband still plans to move to Washington with their son to be closer to his family. She said she may have to move there too if she wants to stay close to him. As she spoke, I realized almost everything was about what she had lost. Her marriage, her home, her reputation, and possibly seeing her son every day. Very little of it was about Emma or the damage she had caused. Dude, this is just the fucking salon haircut situation drama from TikTok, but like on steroids. At the end of the conversation, Chloe asked if we were cool now. I told her no, we were not cool, and we might never be. I said that if I ever found it in my heart to reconcile with her, it would be on my own terms and in my own time. Not because she thought one conversation could erase 4 years of lies and betrayal. I walked out feeling angrier than when I arrived. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I love both of my daughters, but after that conversation, I'm not convinced Chloe truly understands the pain she caused. Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit of that like entitlement that we were seeing from the hair salon girl. This is just such a worse scenario of like, I live in a world where nothing is my fault and I'm entitled to like empathy and humanity from other people, but I don't have to give that out myself. But yeah, like at no point did I get the gist that this person was like remorseful and that they were going to therapy to improve themselves and they were taking accountability for their actions. I just got someone who like is more remorseful that they got caught and that their life is blowing up because of it, but at no point have they stepped back and been like, oh, that was my fault. Chat, let's check for any relevant comments here. Okay, commenter 1, why does the other woman always believe the my marriage is falling apart, I'm not actually close to my wife bullshit? Every single time. We all know this man would have happily remained in his marriage with his side chick sister-in-law forever if Emma didn't find him out. Hell, he's probably begging Emma in text to give him another chance and that Chloe means nothing to him. Tale as old as time, but the women keep falling for it. Baffling. OP says, I'm pretty sure there might be a final part 3. I'm not sure how many parts I can keep making before Reddit says otherwise. Emma and her husband did have some problems, but they were mostly, if not always, minor and nothing serious. I'm still trying to process how it was going on for 4 years without anyone knowing. Commenter 2, I'm still confused at why Emma's husband's behavior changed all of a sudden if it was going on for 4 years. Why did he suddenly become cagey, defensive, and hiding his phone if it's been going on for the last 4 years? OP replied, because Emma was all of a sudden curious and had a feeling he was cheating on her. I think he sensed that and didn't want the secret to be found. Commenter 3, Chloe and Emma's husbands are still seeing each other and are now free to be together. Why did they stay in their marriages if they were so unhappy? Wait, are they still seeing each other? I didn't get that message. OP replied to that saying, Chloe told me that her and Emma's husband haven't talked since. She texted him, but he never responded. So like, he's not even that into her. Oh my God. I mean, that good. Fuck Chloe. I hope both of those people never find happiness. Okay, let's read this because I think this is what OP is replying to. Commenter dropped a whole blurb. I don't want to read it. I'm pretty sure we've said all of this, but at the end, they said, what was her father like? Sorry if this is too personal. You don't have to answer. I'm just trying to figure out where she might get it from. I'm a little worried that your family is going too easy on her. I hope they aren't trying to guilt or shame Emma for not wanting to have anything to do with Chloe. OP replied, my husband passed away about 7 years ago, but when he was alive, he did give Chloe special treatment because she was the baby of the family. I treated both my daughters equally and we often had fights about Chloe due to unfairness and etc. He would do things like make Emma share what was supposed to be hers and give half to Chloe, give Chloe bigger or better items because he didn't want to upset her. We did divorce later on due to something else unrelated, but that did play a huge part. I did try my best to be fair to both my kids, and I genuinely think I was. I'm not trying to blame my late husband here. I'm just saying what he was like. Okay, so it sounds like your husband treated Chloe like the golden child, and that she was entitled to anything of Emma's. Kind of like how she felt entitled to Emma's husband for 4 years. If she doesn't want to blame her late husband, I'll do it. For real, like we're connecting the dots, girl. Your husband always forcing Emma to share what was hers with Chloe probably low-key gave Chloe the subconscious thought that anything that Chloe had was hers to take. Because that's what she did here. My coworker keeps joking that I'm having sex with my husband in the office. Originally posted to Ask a Manager on November 22nd, 2021. My husband husband and I work for the same employer in different departments. Our physical workspaces are in different buildings in the same office park. We usually carpool and meet in the parking lot, but we are rarely in the same building at the same time. And if we are, it's for work reasons. Most people know that we are married, but we keep things professional at work because I want to be known for my work, not as a wife. One of our coworkers used to work in my husband's department. They have always gotten along and had a joking relationship. She's now transferred to my department. She, you say? Interesting. She's now transferred to my department and she will not stop making jokes about me having sex with my husband at work. If she sees that my office door has been shut, she'll say, "Oh, I assumed you and your husband were having sex on the desk and I didn't want to bother you." If she sees us parting ways in the morning, she'll make a gag about how we must have been having sex in the car. It happens nearly every time she sees me in private or in front of coworkers. It makes no difference. It is mortifying when she makes comments like this, especially when she does it in front of people 2 or 3 levels above me. Ugh, that's crazy. She'll do it in front of other people? That's so fucking weird. This is not how I want to be thought of at work. Okay, the only thing that I want to know, was she making these same jokes to your husband? Not saying that that makes it okay at all, but like, did the husband give her some sort of idea that this was like an appropriate thing for them to be joking about at work? But either way, I think she's probably into OP's husband. I always respond with something along the lines of course not, my door was closed because I was on a private call, but she never seems to get the hint. I know I should say something directly, but she clearly wants to be friends and I don't want to completely ruin the relationship. I mean, respectfully, girl, I think her making sex jokes at work and borderline sexually harassing you is more important to address, even if that results in you completely ruining the relationship. Because this is the part that gets me, honestly, is like, these jokes in front of your superiors is not helping you with promotions and whatnot, because maybe they're drawing their own conclusions from it. She really does think this is a funny joke to bond over. There's nothing mean-spirited about it. I'd have my husband address it since they're much closer, but they never see each other anymore since the transfer. Any scripts? I think that just means any advice, maybe? This is how I feel, Linda. My womanly instincts are tingling with just the first part. She's out to get her and make her look bad. Exactly. There's something here that is like not appropriate that she's doing, and I think it's intentional. I think OP is giving her a little bit too much leeway here. Y'all, I want to see what Allison said. Alice's response, surrounded by lots and lots of ads. What on earth? Why does she think this is a good way to bond? If it had just happened once, I'd assume it was an awkward joke that she felt mortified by later. But repeatedly? Even a good joke would be worn out at this point. And just because he's your husband doesn't make her comments any more appropriate than if she was saying this about any other coworker. I know you're worried about ruining the relationship, but she's constantly joking about your sex life at work. She's the one who should be worried about ruining the relationship, not you for telling her to stop. Clock that shit, Allison. Personally, in your shoes, the next time she did it, I'd visibly stop short, give her a weird look and say, "That's a really weird thing to say at work." Yes, girl. She's putting you in a weird position at work. Put her in a weird position at work. The visible reaction is important. You want to reinforce that what she's doing is jarring and not okay. If she has any self-awareness, that alone should put a stop to it. But if it doesn't, or if you want alternate scripts, here are a variety of tones and approaches to pick from depending on what you're comfortable with. Oh, that's what scripts mean. People ask any scripts if they like want her to come up with words that they can say to her. Got it. Okay. First one. I know you don't mean it, but please stop joking about my sex life at work. 2, I know you don't mean it, but I'm weirded out every time you say that. Could you stop? 3, that's gotten really old. Could you cut that out? 4, you need to stop saying that. 5, having you continue to talk about sex is really uncomfortable. Can you stop? 6, why do you keep saying that? It's really inappropriate. If your response to these scripts is, ugh, I just don't want to make things awkward, they're already awkward. She's made things awkward by constantly talking about you having sex with your husband. Let her feel that awkwardness herself rather than you taking it on yourself each time. And if it helps, consider that you're doing her a favor by shutting this down, because someday she's going to say something inappropriate to someone who's not you, and they might react a lot more harshly than you are. Yeah, I mean, if that's how you have to look at it, but I'm just more sitting here like, that's just some weird shit, bro. And I'm sorry, I'm reading too in between the lines of like, I think there's some jealousy, or like some of you are talking about like, maybe she wants to have a threesome with OP and her husband. Like, I don't know. Maybe she's just socially awkward, but it's too fishy. That's all I'll say. Those scripts are pussyfooting around the issue. I kind of agree with that, Svender. Like, I think there's a way to kind of like turn to her and just be like, hey, bro, this ain't it, chief. You gotta gotta cut it. Like, I could go to HR and report you for sexually harassing me. This is weird. I don't know you like that. I get that you and my husband are like buddy, and like, I want to have a friendship with you, but it's really weird when you're basically accusing me of having sex at work. That's fucking weird. Please stop. You're gonna have to stop, or else I'm gonna go to HR about this shit because it's a bad look for both of us. I'm also just too direct to the point. I think it just cuts all the bullshit out, but I think that's the best way to go about it, low key, because there's no way that she can hear that and not go, oh, well, you just didn't communicate it to me well. It's like, yes, I fucking did. I would even document it, maybe. Fucking record that shit. Hey, I'm recording this, so in case I have to escalate this to HR, we have this conversation here earmarked. Chad, I'm so curious about this update. I just want to get to it. I gotta know. How does she handle this? Update December 6th, 2021. Wow. 2 weeks after the original post-ish? I would like to address a couple of things that came up in the comments before getting into the update. One, there were a lot of comments about going straight to HR about this. While I get where people are coming from, I wanted to address it directly with my coworker before making a serious complaint. I knew I could always escalate it if it went poorly. Two, lots of comments about how she must have a crush on me or my husband. I know it's easy to extrapolate from letters where you don't have all the information, but that is definitely not the case. Okay, OP. Three, a few people asked if this was something my husband was in on or if this was the norm in his department. Nope. He thought it was just as weird as I did, and she hadn't made that type of joke when they worked together. They joked, but about common interests. I don't know, maybe there's like a possibility that she wants to be like girl best friends with OP, and that's why she's kind of like crossing this line, but I don't know, man. On to the update. The day after my letter was posted, my coworker caught me walking into the building and made one of her usual cracks. Since we were alone, it felt like the perfect time to address it, and I used a version of commenter Naomi's script. Hey, I know you're just kidding around, but I really worry that someone who doesn't know better will take you seriously. My husband and I try really hard to keep things professional at work, and I really don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. You could see the penny drop. She apologized profusely and even brought me a coffee later in the day to make amends. I've also overheard her a few times since hyping up my work and professionalism to our coworkers, so I know she has taken it to heart. We like different hockey teams, so I've started gently teasing her about that. It's given us common ground, and now we have something work appropriate to joke about. I know that a lot of commenters were concerned that she wasn't really my friend and that I couldn't see that she was trying to bully me or bring me down professionally. I hope that this update has put that fear to rest. She's a really nice person. I think she was falling back on the one thing she knew about me, in parentheses, my marriage, to try to bond, and she just missed the mark. Someone in chat just said, so she's dumb. You know what? If that's true, which we went definitely the more pessimistic route with this, that's definitely better that she's dumb than some of the other things that we were surmising. Sometimes that's just the answer. Some people are just dumb, bro. Sometimes what looks malicious is really just thoughtlessness. It's great to see someone take feedback to heart then actively change. Yeah, you know what? We don't see that a lot on Reddit, so that lady just had zero thoughts going through her head. She's just a puppy that was born on this earth like 6 months ago and has no idea what's going on. Sometimes the answer is just like, this human being was born yesterday. You kind of got to lay everything on the line for them, which, like I said, better than the outcome that we thought this was going to. The messy side of me is a little bummed the coworker didn't want a three-way. God forbid they don't want a three-way, bro. Wow, what a story, y'all. That one was pretty mild. Thought that was going the absolute worst case, you know? I don't know. I mean, we didn't get another update chat, so I feel like that just has to be it, right? She was just kind of an idiot. I mean, she could just be like not good at picking up on social cues. Watched like one show about people bonding over like sex in their relationship and thought, hey, this is how I'm gonna get the in. I see the possibility. My fiance went on a girls camping trip. I found out guys were there too, and I saw a text that said, well, at least you got your bachelorette party out of the way. 21 male OP, 21 female fiance. Wow, just so young, bro. Posted in r/relationship advice May 18th, 2021. Fiance and I have wedding planned for about a month from today. This past weekend, she went on what was supposed to be a girls-only camping trip to a lake. She was completely out of touch from Friday afternoon to Sunday evening. I was okay with this because she said she really needed the break. When she got home, she didn't even say hello and just started laundry, which I thought was a little sus, but she said it was because all of her stuff was dirty, which I guess made sense. As Sunday night went on, she kind of kept slipping that there had been guys there. At first, it was just her friend's boyfriend, but it turns out the guys actually outnumbered the girls. I accused her of tickle-truthing me. Did he mean trickle-truthing? Is it tickle? Okay, it is trickle. Okay, I was like, no way it's called tickle-truthing. I accused her of trickle-truthing me, and she said I was being a dick. As we were fighting, a text came on her phone, and I swear it said, "At least you got the bachelorette party out of the way." It was from JJ, and I can't for the life of me think who that is, nor do I have any context about the conversation as a whole. She says the text didn't say anything like that and accused me of spying on her. I said it's not spying if her phone was on the couch between us and the message was on her lock screen. She got furious and left, and I haven't heard from her for 2 days. She turned off Find My Friends, so I have no idea where she is. What the hell do I do here? I mean, I know what my instincts tell me, but instincts aren't always right. I don't know, man. This whole thing's kind of sus. Like, I think my spidey senses would be tingling too. She went on a trip that she communicated to you was a girls only trip, and then slowly started communicating that guys were there. And then she got really defensive when you were like, hey, so that's a little suspect. Yeah, I'm not fucking with the girlfriend, man. I think this is one of those cases where I'm kind of like, you low key, especially since you've kind of already seen something on the phone that was a little suspicious. I low key have to kind of be like, you might need to check that shit, man. Yeah, you guys are all saying it like cheater senses alert. Yeah, this is so fishy, man. At least you got the bachelorette trip out of the way. Sounds rough. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think this isn't going anywhere good. Okay, there is an edit on this. Edit, people keep asking for an update. There really isn't one. It's Wednesday morning and I haven't heard from her. She hasn't been here for her work clothes and her parents don't know, in parentheses, or aren't saying where she is. They said they aren't worried though, so I assume she's safe. I'm just trying to deal and figure out what the next step is. We were supposed to do a meeting with the caterer today, so I guess I'll go to the meeting and see if she or her parents show up. That will tell me a lot. I mean, listen, bro. Either way, they are 21, which I would recommend to anybody at the age of 21. I don't care how long you've been dating. Don't get married. Like, there just genuinely is no reason to get married to somebody at this age. Change my mind, bro. Where's my fucking mug? Like, oh, and what's your argument, Sarby? Oh, it's the fact that this 21-year-old, instead of communicating with her partner about something difficult going on in their relationship, decides to walk out, disappear for more than 2 days, and turn off their location. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if your partner does that, they are not partner material, and they are not mature enough who will be interacting with you. Call me fucking crazy, bro. Let's see. It's Wednesday morning, and I haven't heard from her. What was May 18th, 2021? Okay, it was a Tuesday. So she's been gone for 3 days. Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Me, personally, I think that's a wake-up call. Hey, this person isn't mature enough to be getting married, bro. As I would argue, most 21-year-olds aren't. We have multiple cases in chat of people being like, I did something, whether engaged or married at 21, bad move. I feel like people shit on me for this, and I actually don't think it's that hot of a take. I think this is a pretty sound take, in my opinion, and I will stick to it till the day I die, bro. If I have a daughter, if I have a son, I'm gonna encourage them like, hey, explore relationships. Go for long-term relationships. That being said, there's literally no rush to get married to them. Grow into the people that you are going to become in your late 20s, early 30s, and then get married. Only thing I can maybe think of is like if you guys want to have kids like in your late 20s, because I know the older you get, the harder it is or the riskier it is. That's fine. I totally understand, but like give it time, please. Okay, chat, let's read this update. Please tell me you call off the marriage. Please. Please. May 20th, 2021, 2 days later, we're getting this update. I did a small update yesterday that I was still going to go to the catering meeting yesterday afternoon. I guess, keep in mind that I hadn't heard from her since she had stormed out on Sunday. In parentheses, still haven't actually. I texted her Wednesday morning telling her what my plan was, and while I could see the text was delivered, I never got a red receipt like usual. I went to the meeting and she and her parents were no-shows. Caterer said that they didn't cancel, so she was expecting them. I waited for about 30 minutes and went home. Another red flag, by the way. Got home to see her parents, and about 5 of her dad's employees, in parentheses, still in their work shirts, packing up stuff from my house. She hurriedly got in her car and drove away. Her mom was super rude to me, but her dad said he was really sorry. He thought he'd raised her better than this, but this was for the best. Oh? I asked him where she was going and he said he didn't know, but I think he was lying. I did stay in the house to make sure they only took her stuff. For those of you asking, she never wanted a ring, so there wasn't one to get back from her. Okay. I mean, I guess that's a good thing, but I don't know. Maybe some psychologists can dive into the psychology of that. But to me, that screams she was never even committed to this thing in the first place. Like, call me crazy, y'all. If I get engaged to someone, the least I want is for us to wear something that very visually people can see and be like, oh, that person's taken. Bare minimum. Our lease was up at the end of this month and landlord said he'd fully refund the deposits or I could stay if I want. Not sure what to do there. I feel like you gotta go, bro. It's gonna feel like that ghost in your house type beat where you just start thinking thinking like, oh, we used to cuddle over there and like cook over there. Like, it's fresh start time, my boy. Later that evening, a friend of hers called to check on me, and it's really the first info I have on why this is all happening. This friend was there, and I guess my fiance really hit it off with some guy, and they spent the whole weekend at another campsite by themselves. Surely they were reading the Bible / sarcasm. Fiance is not telling her friends anything either, but I guess I've been left for the camping guy. Have no idea. She hasn't responded to any texts or calls, and I don't even know how to find her if I wanted to. I know most people are going to say this is for the best, and I know in my head they are right, but this hurts so much. I've been with her for 3 years now, and I thought we had a great relationship. We fought, but in a healthy way. Never in a million years did I think this could happen. I guess what makes it so hard is I don't even really know what happened. Even her closest friends seem to be speculating. If it was this guy, then that sucks. If it was a long-running problem she never told me about, that sucks too. I'm just really sad and in a state of shock. That's it on this. I'll be okay eventually, I'm sure. Yeah, man. I mean, I think you just have to keep framing it as like, thank God you didn't marry her. This does suck. I don't want to diminish that. And this woman is fucking awful, but like, at least you didn't get legally tied to this fucking awful person. If it wasn't now, it would have been later. I don't know why, y'all. The no ring thing is really rubbing me the wrong way. Call me crazy, but I think if my partner said they didn't want a ring, I would see that as a red flag. Might be a little controversial there, but like, I'm sorry. Like, I've talked about this on stream. I would be down if I'm really committed to somebody and like, we're not even engaged yet, but like, I pretty much know she's gonna be my wife. Like, I'll just fucking wear a ring so that people will leave me the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I look at it, is like, part of the ring is to tell people to fuck off. I think it's a red flag, man. Who doesn't want a ring? That shit's cool as hell. She wanted a backup until she found something better. Yeah, that's probably exactly what was happening here. God, I hope that guy fucking breaks her heart. Oh, shit. Wait, chat. Manifesting the energy of the guy from the boyfriend faking death story is the type of energy of this man that OP's fiance left him for. Does that make sense? I think because of the order of stories in this video, that story is gonna come after. But if you're on the YouTube, it will all make sense if you stick around and watch the rest of the video and bring up my average view duration. When you manipulate viewers on your channel. My boyfriend faked his death and then called my reaction manipulative. Originally posted to r/relationship advice on October 2nd, 2021. Me and my boyfriend, I'm 21 female, he's 24 male. Together for 3 years, live apart, but have/had plans to rent together soon. Everything perfect before this. Backstory. I have a history with self-harm. Have done it since I was 11 years old. The last time I did it was 2 years ago. I have some brutal scars, but I'm doing much better and I'm in therapy. It's been a while since I even had the urge. My boyfriend had an ex before me who played mind games a lot. I feel it's relevant as he sometimes thinks I'm playing games when I'm not. For example, he was wary when we started dating that I would self-harm for attention or do it to punish him. In parentheses, his ex would threaten things like that if he ever left her. I don't/haven't ever done this, and despite my struggles, I am pretty good with being patient and communicative. Until this, I considered us to have a really healthy relationship. Interesting. I don't know if I would call this healthy. Like, this is kind of a wild thing for someone to do to you at the beginning of a relationship. I guess I also want to know, is he in therapy too? Like, I know you're in therapy working on your shit, but like, this sounds like some shit that he needs to work on a therapist with. The main story. My boyfriend went out drinking with his friends. I usually hear from him as he gets home, around 2 a.m.-ish to let me know if he is home and safe, but I didn't hear anything last night. I figured he just forgot. No biggie. I went to bed as normal. I woke up at 11 a.m. to a bunch of missed calls from his mother. They live together. I called her back and she texted me at 1 p.m. that she couldn't talk. I was kind of worried and told her as much. She said my boyfriend didn't get home last night and was in a crash and didn't make it. This was super weird to me since I get on well with his mom and would never expect to be told this via text. After some more texting, I fully believed my boyfriend had passed away that morning and I totally shut down. The people I live with were all out that day, so I was alone. Grief set in immediately and I had an extremely bad relapse on my self-harm. I mean, we kind of already know based off the title what he's doing here. That is an insane thing to do to your partner when you know how they react to stress and grief. Or I guess I should just say blanket statement it, negative emotions. At that point, I didn't even care. I was just hurting so much and my usual coping techniques just weren't doing their job. I listened to old voice notes of his and even sent one telling him how much I loved him through the most unhinged sobbing I've ever done. Well, he arrived at my house 20 minutes later saying it was a prank. Since he got into a small bump and thought I'd get mad about him driving drunk. He was driving drunk, which he knows that you'd get mad about, as you should. And so his response is to pull a fucked up prank on you, making you think he died, which should be something on his radar that would potentially cause his girlfriend with a history of self-harm to potentially self-harm herself. Like, what are we fucking talking about? This guy is straight out of Satan's asshole, and thought I'd get mad about him driving drunk, as well as about him mushing up his car a little. And him and his friends came up with this plan to just make me happy he was all right. That's manipulative. Hey, what if we make her think you died so that when you tell her the truth, she'll just be so happy that you're not dead? So they took his mom's phone and the above happened. I obviously was thankful he wasn't dead, but I had a million other much stronger emotions. I was so angry he drove drunk, so angry he saw nothing wrong with it, so angry that he would lie about something so serious, and absolutely heartbroken that he let me sit in grief for over an hour until I sent a voice note that made him feel bad. Plus, lots of other things I'm still struggling to articulate. He found out I harmed and flew off the handle. He said I punished him and turned a harmless prank into something more serious and ruined the joke of it. Anything but accountability. Like, literally anything but just being like, hey, I know you thought I was dead, but somehow this is manipulative towards me because you should have known that I was actually alive and you only did this to make me feel bad. Oh God. Like, bro, public execution. Castration isn't enough here. He said I was guilting him for having fun and now he can't trust I won't do it again. He even suggested I stay at a hospital for my mental issues for a few weeks and crank up therapy. He said he can't leave me if he wants now or else I'll act like this, just like his ex. Stop bringing up your fucking ex, dog. Like, been 2 years. I'm beyond hurt. I probably should look into therapy if I'm still resorting to it, I admit. No. I mean, yes, stay in therapy. Sorry, that's not what I meant, but you're not the problem here. He's the problem. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to self-harm, but I understand being like, I was so grief-stricken by thinking that my boyfriend of 2 years died in a car accident that I relapsed. If it was anything else too, I would understand. If it was alcoholism, if it was drugs, like, dude, he did that to you. I probably should look into therapy if I'm still resorting to it, I admit, but this was not an everyday bout of anxiety or even a breakup. I thought he had died. I'm also very aware that his actions were massively shitty and he's being so manipulative in the aftermath. How is it a punishment if I thought he was dead? I absolutely would not react like this if he just broke up with me, and I have never said or hinted at that. Not really sure what to do now. My gut tells me to leave him over this, but I'm so unsure. Girl, listen to your gut. Listen to your gut. Oh my God. This is level 9,000 evil shit. Holy red flag city, by the way. Drunk driving, is willing to pull a manipulative prank to try to frame himself in a better light after drunk driving and crashing his car. And then on top of that, little cherry on top, you did this to your partner who has a history of self-harming. I can't believe you wouldn't have put it together of like, hey, maybe this would be something that could trigger a relapse. Like, holy fucking unaware of your partner. Always wonder, was his ex crazy or did he drive her crazy? Okay, bouncy ball, this might be controversial. I think crazy attracts crazy. Sue me, bro. If the boyfriend's pulling this shit on OP, there's no way that there wasn't some mutual craziness in that relationship. We get a couple of OOP's comments. At the end of this comment, a commenter said, speaking of the accident, did he leave the scene of an accident while he was driving drunk, or was he late getting home because he got a DUI? OP said he bumped into a fence post, so luckily nobody was injured, but the potential was there, as well as the carelessness. I don't know if he was late or not, honestly. I think he planned this almost immediately and not texting me all night as part of it. I guess thank God nobody was hurt, but like, low key, you should snitch on your boyfriend. Hey, I know the guy that hit this fence post. I'm sure it's somebody's fence post, so like, this commenter said what we said. For the record, the whole he sometimes thinks I'm playing mind games like his ex tells me this is not an all-around otherwise healthy relationship. I'm sure it has some good, but it's not otherwise completely healthy. You just can't convince me that a man that thinks like this is somebody that you're in a healthy relationship with. It's also very concerning to me that when he saw you self-harmed, his reaction was to get upset with you. He couldn't empathize or sympathize with the self-harm, or the thinking your boyfriend died, or any of it. He can't admit he was wrong for any part of this, and that's enough to break up, in my opinion. At least hold off on moving in together. No, I think you gotta break up. I think this part is so important. If your partner can't even admit that they're wrong when they're so clearly in the wrong, they're not gonna grow out of that. Maybe you should get more therapy just for a bit to talk about the situation. This is beyond traumatic and you don't deserve that. Opie said, sorry, he only felt that way in the beginning of our relationship as that was his only experience with someone who self-harms, but it hadn't been an issue for years now. I do feel that we worked through it and he has always been supportive during my urges when I first tried to stop, and even supportive during a relapse. That's kind of why I'm unsure now. All of this behavior is out of the blue. I know people are going to think I'm mentally weak or some shit, but I can and do recognize manipulative behavior, and I promise this is the first case of it I've seen with him. Definitely continuing therapy. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe he was just able to keep his mask on for 2 years, but that jump is kind of crazy in my opinion, bro. Yeah, you guys are saying it. No way that's the first time. Holy shit, man. I mean, at the end of the day, void anything else in their relationship, I feel like you can't come back from this. Or you shouldn't. Like, I don't think this woman is safe with this man. I think it would maybe, and I stretch this insanely, maybe salvageable if he had come home, realized that what he did caused his girlfriend to self-harm and repented immediately. I would think it's maybe salvageable. And that's a big maybe. He couldn't even do that. He not only couldn't admit that he was wrong, but then turned it on you and called you manipulative. Like, I'm sorry, you should not stay with this man. He is showing who he is. Believe him. I know that before he hadn't done any of this allegedly, but like now he just pulled down the curtain on a giant billboard with neon lights saying, I will manipulate the fuck out of you. I will gaslight you and I will make you feel bad about it. Listen to the billboard, girl, please. Yeah, even if he cared that man drove drunk, exactly. I feel like we should also not just completely look over that part. That is also a red flag. Okay, update post October 15, 2021, 13 days later. Long story short, I broke up with him for the following reasons. 1, drunk driving, in parentheses, endangering himself and others. 2, took his mother's phone and made me think it was her, in parentheses, deception. Wow, I forgot to touch on that, but OP is totally right. 3, telling me he was dead, deception / extreme emotional stress. 4, letting me think that for hours. In parentheses, I could list every negative trait for that one. Borderline sociopathic behavior. 5, not being sorry for any of those things, in parentheses, twat. 6, telling me I'm too sensitive, in parentheses, invalidation, shifting blame. 7, being mad at me for relapsing, in parentheses, unsupportive, uncaring, unkind. I mean, I think we should throw in here like manipulative, gaslighting, but like, you know what? Hell yeah, you go, girl. I still won't blame him for the relapse though, as many people here wanted me to. That is on me and I'm still going to therapy regularly for that. Okay, in a lot of ways, I have to admire OP for like wanting to take power in their own decisions. That being said, I think blame can be multiple people. It's not black and white. While yes, I do think that you can say it is on you, at the end of the day, he did some fucked up shit that led to you doing that. So I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't just let this man have no culpability in that, but I like the framing. I think this is a healthy way for her to get better in the future with self-harm and have a better relationship with herself. So for those interested, I took a few days to myself. I did speak over the phone to his mom and she was incredibly apologetic on his behalf. I taught her how to put a passcode on her phone. I hope that mom berated his ass. How old is this kid again? 24 male. If your 24-year-old son is pulling this shit, like, you gotta kick that motherfucker out, you know? After that, we met up and I outlined the things I listed above. He seemed apologetic and sincere about all of them and listened to me well. Unfortunately, he didn't quite understand that being apologetic wouldn't get me to change my mind on ending the relationship, so his true colors came out in the end. He got annoyed at me for ending it and again told me I was dramatic and other invalidating arguments. Typical. Wouldn't expect anything less. Oh, well, I said what I needed to say and that's enough closure for me. Good. I like that. You can never depend on closure from somebody else's actions or words. Like, this man is gonna be an immature man-child who just wants to manipulate and gaslight his partner for the rest of his life. You can't depend on him for closure in this scenario. I do love that OP's trying to take things by the reins and think about what she can control and the things that she can give herself. I really do love that. But man, is that guy fucking evil. Tell his mom to prank him by saying he's adopted or he's the neighbor's son. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Or just like kick him out, man. My ex-wife divorced me after she got cancer so that she could leave first. Now she wants to come back. Should I give her another chance? Originally posted to r/relationship advice May 23rd, 2023. I met my wife, I'll call her Anna, during our first year of university. We dated through university and got married right after her graduation. Things were happy for about a while until Anna discovered she had a lump in her right breast. I encouraged her to have it checked out. She was reluctant to do so, but ultimately did because breast cancer runs in her family. And sure enough, that's what she had. The good news, if it can be considered good news, was that the breast cancer she had was extremely treatable with chemo and radiation. operation. Based on her family history, her doctor also recommended a double mastectomy for her. This put Anna in a really dark place. I suggested she go to therapy, but she outright refused and said she never wanted to hear me suggest that again. I'm trying to be sympathetic because Anna's definitely in a really, really bad place. I don't know, man. I feel like it's 2026. Not being open to therapy is kind of a red flag. Yeah, you guys are saying it. Why reject therapy so vehemently? Like, exactly. So I did my best to be encouraging and supportive to her. I took time off work to be at every appointment with her. I took on 100% of the household chores, both inside and out. I did all the shopping. I drove Anna everywhere she wanted to go. I planned out special dates for us. I gave her an hour-long foot massage every night. I literally did whatever I could. About 6 weeks into her treatment, Anna brought up the idea of going to stay with her sister Sarah for a week. This honestly relieved me as I was burning the candle at both ends, trying to accomplish everything. And I thought some time apart would help us both. 2 nights into her stay with Sarah, Anna called me and said she wanted a divorce. She said she had read a lot about men who abandoned their wives when their wives got sick, and she was determined to leave me before I could leave her. I can't put into words how much this crushed me. I loved my wife. She was my everything. I begged her to reconsider. I told her I had never thought of leaving her, not even once. I asked her again to go to therapy. She refused again. I asked her to go to couples therapy with me. She wouldn't. I asked her what I could do to convince her I wanted to stay. She said there was nothing. I'm a man and therefore I would leave. End of story. Yeah, you guys are saying it. S-tier self-sabotage. And I think this goes back for me to like vehemently rejecting therapy thing. Clearly she doesn't have good coping mechanisms, coping skills with her negative emotions. Like if you're feeling anxious or worried about your partner leaving you, because she is right, men do have a pattern of leaving their sick wives. Talk to your husband about it. You know, how are you feeling? Is this something you're considering? I know you're doing a lot right now. Are you reaching your wit's end? Can you do this for multiple months to go? She didn't even give him a chance. Like, while she is right about the statistic, she didn't even give him a chance to prove the statistic wrong. And I just have a problem with that. Also, how does this benefit her? Oh, you know what? I bet they're not in America, because they were calling it university, not college. Okay. I was just about to say, I was like, in America, you gotta milk that man for his insurance. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad way to put it, but you know what I mean. It took about a year because of where we live, thanks COVID, but eventually everything was finalized. I ended up selling the house and splitting the proceeds between me and my now ex-wife. I didn't want to stay in the town anymore, so I put in a transfer request at my job and ended up moving to a town about 2 hours away. For the past couple of years, I've been focusing on myself more. I got a dog. I've been on a few dates, but nothing serious. I picked up hiking as a hobby and started gardening. Out of the blue, Anna called me 3 weeks ago. She said she'd been in town on a trip with friends and saw me, and all of her old feelings rushed back. She said she was sick and out of her mind at the time, and that I couldn't hold her words or her actions against her. Okay, y'all might hate me for this, but I feel like that's a cop-out. To me, that screams that she's not taking accountability for what she did. Would you guys agree with that, or are we disagreeing with it? Okay, all right, okay, good. I was gonna say, I was like, listen, I think sickness can do things to you that don't allow you to think straight. But at the end of the day, while your sickness might have pointed the gun, you were the one that pulled the trigger. And you have to at least own up to pulling the trigger. Me personally, that's how I feel about it. If you pulled that damn trigger, you better be able to at least acknowledge that you did it and that you're sorry for it and that maybe the sickness was helping point the gun, but like you have culpability in that as well. It doesn't feel like she's taking any culpability here. Like, I'm very curious if OP is gonna ask her if she went to therapy or not. She said she still loved me and that she always had and that she regretted leaving me. She begged me to give her another chance. I'm so confused. If I'm being honest, I still love Anna, but I am no longer in love with her. She broke my heart. I was devastated when she ended things. It took me a long time to get my head on right, but I also know she really was in a bad place because of the cancer. Do I owe it to her? And what we had to hear her out. I'm scared that if we reconnect, I'll always feel like she'll have one foot out the door, but maybe that's unfair. I don't know what to do. Should I give her another chance like she wants? Honestly, y'all, for me, this is a needs more information. I think if you really wanted to try it, bare minimum, she needs to be in therapy. Even then, I would still want to really press her of like, okay, I know you were sick and like that messes with your mind, but like you have to take accountability for what you did. This isn't just like hands clean, oopsies, my bad, but also not really my bad because I was sick. This is, hey bro, you were the one who ruined our marriage. I was down to do whatever it took. You just assumed that I wasn't. And also, now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm kind of sitting here like, do you really want a partner who's gonna assume the worst of you no matter what? Like, this would kind of hurt my feelings if my girlfriend said this about me. Like, I hope she's with me knowing that I'm not that type of guy. Y'all, I'm debating, like, is it even worth him meeting up with her? Oh, some of you guys in chat are pointing out that while men definitely leave their partners at higher rates when their partners are sick, women do it too. There's definitely a discrepancy, but it's not that wide. Interesting. I didn't know that. You can still have love for someone, even be in love with someone, but love alone is not enough to sustain a good, healthy relationship. You know what, Kitten Posey? I actually agree. I think for this to truly work, the wife needs to have changed in a lot of ways, and I'm just very pessimistic about that being the case. But I guess we'll fuck around and find out really quick, huh? Update May 26, 2023, 3 days later. It's a little soon for me, chat. Here we go. Many of you suggested I reach out to my ex-wife Anna for an in-person conversation. The overwhelming consensus was that meeting her in person would tell me all I needed to know, and you were right. That seemed reasonable to me. I texted her and she jumped at the chance to meet, and we did so yesterday after I was done with work. I chose to ask her to meet at a local coffee shop. Maybe it sounds bad, but I didn't want to meet her at my house or anywhere private just in case. I actually think that's really smart. Anyway, Anna was already there when I got there. She got up and hugged me. I let her, but I didn't hug her back. Then we sat down. I asked her to remain quiet while I talked, and then I told her everything. I'm gonna sum it up here because I honestly don't remember everything I said. I think I talked for like 10 minutes solid while she just sat there and teared up. But I told her things like how much she had devastated me. I told her that I would have stuck with her through thick and thin no matter what. I told her that I loved her, and that hadn't changed after her diagnosis or treatment plan. I told her that I was broken after she initiated the divorce. I told her how hard it was for me to pull myself back together. A lot of you pointed out that if Anna and I got back together, I should be worried about what she would do the next time she got sick, or if I got sick. And you were right. So I told her that too. And she got mad and interrupted me at that point. Oh my God, chat. Something that we didn't even address is maybe she was projecting. Like, I feel like that comes up a lot when we read these stories, is like, there seems to be a very like projection vibe. It could be a very projection vibe. And this is interesting that this is the part that she gets mad and interrupts OP at. She said I was being unfair, that I wasn't taking into consideration her mental health at the time. She said she wasn't thinking straight, but that now she was. I took the chance to ask her if she'd been to therapy. She told me she hadn't, and that she had no plans to, and that she didn't need it. I have to admit that crushed me a little. I mean, that's all I need to know, chat. She healed from the sickness, but not from the mental illness. I asked her why. Just why? It's the one question I've really wrestled with over the months. And she said that she'd gone looking for support groups and found a lot of women who had stories about their partners leaving. She even mentioned Reddit, funnily enough. She said she talked it through with her sister, Sarah. Anna said that Sarah, to her credit, had tried to dissuade her from divorcing me, but that between social media and some of Anna's friends, Anna felt like that she had to go through with it to be seen as a strong woman. Okay, first off, Anna's friends are assholes. You know what, chat? As much as like I understand that men leave women all the time and that there is this like embarrassment that comes along with like breakups or anything like that where you feel embarrassed that like this relationship didn't work out. I think what's strong of any person, let alone a woman, that's more strong than that is fully trusting your partner and yourself that you chose a partner who will stick through those hard times with you. You might be wrong. Like, I think people are proven time and time again that they're wrong, but I think it's stronger to give that trust to somebody and allow them to break it than to not give that trust to the person that you made a commitment that you would trust to the utmost level. And it sucks that like nowadays, like people feel that pressure of like embarrassment or like they have to be strong by like getting ahead of the game and whatnot. I think she's just flawed in her logic. Anna needs therapy and to be single for several years. I agree, so. As if a woman can't be strong if her spouse divorces her. Exactly. It honestly makes me sad that like that is the definition to this woman of a weak woman. Like, hey, for some reason you're weak because your husband was a coward? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think you're actually strong for believing in your choice in partner, and that sucks that if that did happen, they proved your choice wrong. I still think you're much stronger for having that trust and giving it rather than gatekeeping that trust from your partner. Like I said at the beginning, she didn't even give him the opportunity to break the trust. That is word for word what she said to me. I don't remember anything else exactly, but I will never forget that. She broke my heart and threw away our relationship because somehow in her mind that translated to being strong. She then started to tell me we could get back together again, but at that point I just told her flat out that wasn't happening. What it comes down to for me is that I just can't trust her. I would always be worrying about the same thing happening again. She cried a lot and tried convincing me for a little while. When I got up to leave, she threw her iced coffee in my face and stormed out. Like, wholly not able to take accountability for your actions. I think OP's dodging a bullet right now. So yeah, we're definitely not getting back together. I have the closure I always wanted. I wish it felt better. I've been dwelling on it for the past day and a half. I keep wondering if there's something I could have done better, some way I could have saved our relationship, but I know there's not. I blocked her number. I kind of hope I never hear from her again. Me too, boss. That is one of the saddest stories I think I've ever read, just in terms of like a good dude who was like down to do the hard thing that a lot of people wouldn't. And not only did his partner not even give him the chance, but she can't even see that not giving him the chance was the wrong thing to do. Man, that's sad. Ugh, just unbelievably sad, bro. Hot take, I'll say it again for the end of the video. I think it's a huge red flag if your partner isn't even open to therapy. I understand dragging your feet on it and whatnot, but like, I have to be transparent with you guys. I'm not actively in therapy right now. If shit hit the fans for me, I would immediately go into therapy. Like, I think it's so helpful. I think I actually should be in therapy. I think I just operate in a way that like, I'm doing okay without it. I think it would benefit me, but right now my time is very limited and I would like to use it for other things, but I really should. I think even a good working car needs an oil change every once in a while. I think that's a great way to describe it. That being said, being completely closed off to it, I think is just bad comms, bad looks. And anybody who's getting in a relationship with somebody, if their partner isn't open to it, I think you should take that very seriously. Because what that tells me is they're gonna think they're fine no matter what's going on, and it's probably gonna result in them taking it out on you, similar to what happened in the story. Letting others convince you to divorce your spouse when the relationship is good and they treat you well makes you weak. I agree with that too, Katana. The real people that she should be mad at are herself and her friends. The top comment on this post is the whiplash between "you can't blame me, I was having mental health issues," and "I don't and never will need therapy" is wild. It's crazy. Like, the cognitive dissonance there is just grating. Am I the a-hole for the email I sent to a teacher about her "you have to include everyone" rules, saying that it was a dangerous lesson? Originally posted to r/am I the a-hole on April 24th, 2022. My daughter is 12. I'm trying to teach her ways of creating and respecting her boundaries that are age appropriate. Teaching her that it's okay to say no to things she feels uncomfortable with. W, absolutely, especially for a woman. There's a boy in her class who keeps bothering her and her female friends at recess. I've encouraged her to go to me or her teacher when this happens. My daughter told me a few days ago that in class, the teacher had asked the kids to form groups of about 4 or 5. My daughter had formed a group of 5 with some other girls. Then the boy who had been giving her trouble at recess came over and said he was joining their group. Another girl said that they already had 5 and he should work with a group who only had 2 or 3 people. He said no, because the teacher had said about 4 or 5. My daughter then said that they didn't want to work with him and he should find another group. A few of the other girls agreed with her. He said that "you can't exclude me like that, it's against class rules." And she said she didn't care. I love her. She's a diva. Your daughter's so funny. I heard about this from my daughter first, and the way she talked about it, she had been firm, but not unkind. But then I got an email from her teacher saying she wanted to call. She said there had been an incident at school where my daughter had excluded another child, and that wasn't allowed in her class, and she wanted me to have a talk with her about it. Her telling of events was the same as my daughter's. I felt proud of my daughter for her honesty. I sent her an email saying, "Dear Miss Teacher, I'm sorry, but that is not a lesson I feel comfortable teaching my daughter. She's at an age where she's already having to deal with unwanted attention, and I'm making a point to teach her that she does not have to be around anyone who makes her uncomfortable, and that a young lady is able to choose to spend time with people who make her feel respected. I understand you are already aware Boy has been behaving in ways that she feels uncomfortable with at recess from our prior conversations. I think it is a very dangerous lesson to teach a girl she has to include and be kind to everyone, instead of teaching her to be aware of when someone is not respecting her no and stepping out of the situation." Bro, this is such a good fucking parent. Like, yes, queen, absolutely, fuck this teacher. I'm honestly surprised this teacher isn't a man. That's what I was expecting, I'm not gonna lie. I hope I don't have to explain in too much detail why I find this important, but to put it briefly, I was brought up with the include everyone mindset, no exceptions. It taught me to ignore my own comfort level, and as I became a young adult, I became the victim of men who used my inability to say no to their advantage. It's a dangerous lesson and no longer appropriate at that age. Thank you, OP. She emailed me back asking for a meeting in person with the principal. I'm preparing for that, but wondering if my email was too harsh. Am I the a-hole for my response to my daughter's teacher? Absolutely not, bro. I'm more worried that these adults are too stupid and immature to know that what you're preaching should be the gospel, baby. Yeah, y'all are saying it in chat. Let her cook. For real. We need to stop raising women to not empower their no and not set boundaries for themselves. Like, you just hear time and time again where women grow up with that mindset and it puts them in harmful situations. Like, I love this for OP. I love this for OP's daughter. She's gonna grow up standing on business when she says no. I really hope that principal isn't a terrorist, man. Like, I'm all for including kids when it makes sense, right? Like, if this was a bully situation of like, well, I don't want to include you because you're stupid and lame and ugly. Like, that's totally different. That is a completely completely different thing that is related to something else, right? But when it's like, hey, this dude is like a terrorist and he's just doing this to disrespect my no, and let's be honest, he probably has a crush on OP and or OP's friends. Like, that's on him and his parents to teach that's not how you go about doing that stuff. And it's on OP to teach her daughter to not put up with that. And it's on the teacher to identify those situations and be able to distinguish between bullying and setting boundaries. Unfortunately, and this is an issue for another time, but our teachers are not paid enough to actually be good teachers. If a whole group of girls is against working with one kid, the teacher should be looking more into what's going on. I agree, Nico. Like, how is that not throwing up red flags in your head? Hey, this group of 5 girls doesn't fuck with this boy. Maybe this boy is awful. Relevant comments, OP to a downvoted comment on why this is important. I feel like a better lesson for future life is that if you're in a group, i.e. workplace, where someone has done stuff to make you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to not want to work with them. It's okay to ask your boss to reassign you or the other person, or to report harassment to HR, or even if HR and management don't address harassment, to leave a job. Your safety is worth more than professionalism. I feel like that's just life, there isn't a way out of it kind of attitude is dangerous, because harassment doesn't have to be a part of life, and there's always a way out. Hell yeah. I stayed at a job for way too long where my boss was harassing me, and I wish I had the lesson at the time of your safety and dignity is worth more than whatever they're paying you. Find a new job ASAP. OOP to another deleted commenter on what the bully has done. When my daughter and his female friends were having girl talk, that they'd be embarrassed to have other people over here, in parentheses, nothing too embarrassing, just talking about kissing, which I guess is what passes as scandalous at that age, LOL. He hid near them and listened in for a while. He also chases a few of the girls around the playground even though they don't want to play that way, and keeps yelling at him to stop it and leave them alone. Question about if the kid has friends. I'm not really sure. My daughter never said either way. She said that she tries to keep away from him and not pay attention to what he's up to when she can help it. So I'm not sure she'd know. This commenter said, considering they're a group of 5 girls and the teacher is calling out the daughter for being exclusive, I am inclined to think, without more info, that this kid may be an outcast. I kind of get snooty girl vibes from this, but I could be totally off the mark. I mean, I don't think it's snooty girl vibes based off of what they said. Like I said, if the daughter had said something along the lines of, you're ugly, we don't want you here, leave you alone, I think that's an issue, right? That is an outcast being a mean girl. For you to be like, hey, we have 5 people, and we also just don't fuck with you, please leave us alone, that's a completely different scenario. OP replied to that saying, my daughter really isn't that type. If anything, I think she struggles with standing up for herself without feeling bad about it afterwards. I'm trying to teach her it's not something to feel guilty about. Also, a serious question for you. What about my post gave the impression that my daughter was unreasonable or mean? It is a very concerning trend when I see that anytime a girl stands up for her boundaries, there's some voice going, oh, but did she go too far? Was she really justified? No, for real. That is like the stupid idiot man in the Instagram comments type shit. Why can't you just look at something of like, hey, this woman is standing up for herself and creating a boundary and she's allowed to do that? Why every time do you have to go to fucking defend the man? Fuck the man. Seriously, I'm curious, can you reflect on what made you ask that and really consider how dangerous a message that can be if you ask the same thing about young women in your life? Yeah, bro, I mean, I'm sure the person who left this comment doesn't have a lot of women who feel comfortable around him. Commenter said, unless you're a doormat, you already know you weren't the a-hole. Now, be very firm that you want that boy as far as possible from your daughter and that you will personally sue the school and the teacher if something ever happens. OP said, haha, as much as I try to teach my daughter about boundaries, it still is something I struggle with feeling guilty about sometimes. Hard to unlearn those wrong lessons, which is honestly why I want to teach her differently from a young age so she doesn't grow up with that baggage, LOL. Yeah, I think everybody in a lot of ways grows up with that baggage. I just think women more so because women are taught to make themselves small. Minorities too. They're taught to make themselves small. All right, chat, let's do the update. Here we go. Update April 26, 2022, 2 days later. I reached out to the parents of the other 4 girls in the class who were involved and we all coordinated to go speak to the school administrator together. Smart. They had similar views, thinking it was inappropriate for the school to expect the girls work with someone who they're not comfortable with, and frustrated the teacher didn't do more to deal with the issues during recess that made the girls uncomfortable to start with. I ended up asking the school if we could reschedule the meeting to a time all the involved families could make, and we ended up meeting this afternoon along with my husband, another couple, 2 mothers, and a father, along with the teacher and principal. We all presented a united front asking for the following. The school does training for the teachers on trauma-informed teaching methods and the dangers of expecting young women to go against their best judgment of their own boundaries to be nice, instead of include everyone. The kids should be allowed to respectfully set boundaries and taught to respect each other's boundaries. The school addresses harassment argument in class or at recess and doesn't enable it to continue. We went to talk, and I think it went a lot better having all the parents join instead of if I'd gone alone. I agree. I honestly am kind of flabbergasted I didn't think of that. That's so much smarter. Strength in numbers, baby. The teacher and the principal apologized, and the principal agreed to look for resources on how to better navigate the balance between being inclusive and not forcing kids into including someone who is crossing a line with them. Thanks for all the amazing advice in the comments. I cannot believe how much this blew up, and I'm grateful to everyone who replied with advice and support, and honestly was getting pretty emotional hearing how the lessons I'm trying to teach my little one resonated with other women, whether they're moms too, or having been through some same struggles I have. Oh God, we love to hear that. Thank God. I was gonna be pissed if it was like, and then our principal was a terrorist. Damn, good parents on Reddit? I know, for real. If you have kids nowadays, I think it's so important to teach them to respect boundaries, and I think it's important to teach women to stand up and enforce their boundaries. It's important to teach younger boys to respect those boundaries and advocate for women. I think that part's important too. You can respect women's boundaries, but standing up to your guy friends that aren't respecting their boundaries is just as equally as important. My friend is hiding a wedding reception inside 4 reservations. Will this go badly? I don't even know how that's possible, but here we go. Originally posted to r/restaurant on August 7th, 2026. Wow, this is fresh off the press. My friend is having an intimate wedding ceremony, followed by a dinner for about 30 people at a restaurant. Plot twist, the dinner guests don't know it's a wedding reception. On top of that, she has not reserved the private party room. She's made 4 separate reservations under 4 different names and plans to just move tables together when everyone arrives. This is a Saturday reservation, 4 to 7 p.m. according to the Evite, at a popular large 300-seat waterfront seafood restaurant in a major city. Wow, that's a lot of question marks to be throwing in to such an occasion. I'm nervous this will all fall apart on her and us guests upon arrival. So what's the likely outcome here? Is there anything she could do to make this go smoothly if she won't just call ahead? Which is what I've strongly recommended. Sigh. Edit to add, the guests are paying for themselves, and I don't think they are aware of this plan. Neither the bill responsibility nor the reservation nonsense. She told me and her mom and sister about it, but the Evite I received was very vague. Join us to celebrate friend and fiance at X restaurant. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. If one of my friends did this, I'd kind of be fucking annoyed. I also just don't think the restaurant's gonna fuck with this. Like, there's no way that at a place where you have to make reservations, they're just gonna go, oh shit, yeah, surely we can put enough tables for 30 people to sit together at a restaurant. I feel like this is just a dumpster fire waiting to happen. Relevant comments. First person said that's extremely shitty behavior. OP said I cannot disagree. Commenter 2, it's pretty simple. This is not going to happen in any way, shape, or form the way they think it will. The chances all 4 reservations are located right next to each other is slim. The chance that a busy, popular restaurant on a waterfront in a busy city on a Saturday night isn't at or near capacity is slim to none. The restaurant won't be able to accommodate anything other than the individual reservations as they were made. It's absolutely stupid to do this, but I bet it's because they either can't afford or tried to book too late the private area. My best guess is that she thinks they'll just slide them into the private area without the booking cost and minimums, but restaurants don't staff for party rooms when they aren't pre-planned and prepaid with guaranteed minimums to cover the labor. Let us know how things pan out, OP. That's so funny. Yeah, tell us about the dumpster fire. OP said, will do. Yes, it's an affordability issue, but that's no excuse. Do what you can afford and in a way that's considerate to all involved. I'm really taken aback by this. Okay, chat. Moral dilemma. Because OP knows that this is being hidden from the guests, does OP have a moral obligation to tell them? I'm kind of leaning towards maybe tell your friends you're close with who are getting invited, hey dog, you're walking into a shitstorm, maybe just say that you can't come. So like maybe not everybody, because I do think that they should endure the consequences of their actions a little bit, but like I'm trying to think, if I know that one of my friends is about to pull this fuck shit on me and another one of my best friends, I'm probably just gonna tell my best friend like, hey bro, just a heads up, here's what's happening, so like be prepared. Oh, you guys are saying yes and give a heads up to the restaurant. I mean, if anything, I think the restaurant is gonna be like, fuck no, you can't put tables together, and or they're gonna kick them out. They're gonna be like, hey, so you're pulling some fuck shit, we don't want you here. I think that's what's gonna happen, and low-key, I think that's what should happen to the people who are throwing this party. Me personally, like, give them the boot. I wouldn't even tell the restaurant, you know? Let the restaurant put them to shame, or make it awkward for the couple, right? Hey, you guys can't push tables together. If you want your tables, then go to your tables, otherwise get the fuck out. Commenter 3, those tables will not be close to each other. Someone will keep saying, why can't we? Or we just want to, like, it's no big deal. The manager will try to find a happy medium. The servers will cry/curse in the walk-in. No one will tip anywhere near enough for the trouble. Record everything you see and post here Monday. Opie said, I will definitely post an update. I'm planning to leave early if things get too ridiculous, though. For what it's worth, she's not confrontational. In parentheses, just inconsiderate surrounding this wedding. So if they shut it down, she'll go along with whatever they say. But I don't believe there's a plan B. At least she hasn't said anything to me about it. Commenter 4, they'll probably just end up eating at separate tables and come by to tell her congratulations, but it won't be a reception. It'll be separate dinners for everyone. Who is paying? Opie said the guests. Commenter 5, oof, she needs to, at minimum, tip on top of what people leave. People are going to be irritated, which generally doesn't make them great diners or tippers. What a nightmare. OP said, I'll definitely leave a hefty tip for my table. Do the guests know they are going to pay for their meals? OP, I'm not sure. She told me, but the evite I received was very vague. Join us to celebrate friend and fiance at X restaurant. The additional guests invited to the dinner are unaware of the small wedding plan for earlier that day. This is just a fucking nightmare, bro. Yeah, like I said, I think if there are people close to you going, definitely let them know that they're walking into a shitstorm. But man, that is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I just feel like there's so much better ways to go about this. Like, honestly, just host a dinner in your backyard or something like that, in a friend's backyard. Like, this is just the absolute worst way to do it. At this point, just stay home, my G. That's so true. So guys, explain this to me, because I've never been a server, so I don't know. So to clarify, I do understand the discrepancy of like, hey, these people are gonna walk into something they're unexpecting, so they're probably gonna be a little irritated and maybe not tip well. I understand that section. But in theory, they should be equipped to cater to these dinner guests, assuming they don't cave in to like, oh yeah, I guess take the party room, you know? Like, I think any restaurant should deal with this situation in a way that's like, no, absolutely fucking not. Like, you can sit at your assigned reservation tables or you can fucking leave. And if they stay, the hosts should be able to like serve dinner as seen. Don't get me wrong, it's still inconsiderate of that person, but I'm like, I think I would walk out as a server, not gonna lie, that's gonna be a packed house completely full and this bride is gonna try to play musical chairs with my setup. Yeah, I guess I'm just assuming that the manager is gonna hear this shit and be like, fuck no, bro. Like, it doesn't even sound possible. Yeah, they're just not gonna let them push tables together and the tables will likely be nowhere near each other. That's how I feel like this is gonna play out, Mbem. A party of 30 takes more work than 5 parties of 6. Keep in mind, Icarus, they made 4 separate reservations to accommodate all 30 people. So it's more like parties of 7 to 8 people across multiple tables. Don't get me wrong, it's still not a great look and it's not a great idea, but I think you guys just like aren't keeping track of how this is gonna play out. Because in my head, the only way this plays out, assuming they have a manager who's down to fucking put their foot down, it's gonna play out where they're gonna be like, fuck no, go sit at your tables or leave. You're assuming they have a good manager. I mean, I'm going based off of like the way she described this place. It sounds like a fancier restaurant. 300 person plus restaurant with waterfront seating. It's a seafood restaurant. Like, I'm kind of assuming this is an upscale place. It's not just like a sports bar, but you're right. Maybe they have a bad manager. I don't know. Let's see. Update added onto the original post, August 10th, 2026, 3 days later. Update. Ultimately, it wasn't terrible. After reading some of the strong reactions here, thank you so much, I had a gentle chat with my friend. She wasn't super receptive, but something clicked and she at least gave the manager a heads up day of. Several guests didn't come and I can't blame them given the circumstances. It ended up being about 20 guests and we were seated at a long table. The manager was great, even when my friend seemed clueless about their policy that they don't itemize separate checks for each guest. Oh my God, that's a big check. Many thanks to the restaurant staff for being so accommodating and for making everything feel so seamless. Shout out to the restaurants everywhere that are so gracious instead of ma'am, this is a Wendy's, LOL, even when deserved. I'll be giving a glowing review because they earned every star. Okay. I guess that went the way that I didn't think it would go. Yeah, I guess probably the better advice would be like, oh my God, tell your friend she's being fucking crazy. Low key though, that restaurant kind of got scammed. Also, did they end up telling the guests that they were responsible for their parts of the check? I think that would probably annoy me the most. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but that would be something like if me and my girlfriend went to our friend's like celebration of who they were and we weren't told that we had to cover the check. I would pay for it, but then I would probably be in the car later and be like, okay, what the fuck was that? I think out of anything, maybe later on have a conversation with your friend of like, hey, do you understand like how rude that is and kind of inconsiderate? I feel like everybody around their wedding day is probably like super stressed and cannot handle having a constructive conversation about their behavior during that time. But after the fact, I think it's okay to open up like, hey, can we just like go over this situation and talk about how bad it is for the servers, for the restaurant, for your friends to like do this to somebody? Like, you really shouldn't shouldn't do that kind of thing ever again. Now that I'm reading your guys' chats, I'm pretty sure this is why some restaurants have that, like, any reservations with above 8 to 10 people, you automatically tip 20%. I think that's fair. Low-key tipping culture fucking sucks, but I think that's totally fair. Sorry, tipping culture sucks because the restaurants should just fucking pay their workers how much they're owed. But with societal norms, if you're gonna go do that, you should be expected to tip 20%. The fact that many friends didn't go makes me wonder if some people ended up resentful. I mean, I don't think they had any information to be resentful about, right? Like, it didn't sound like they told the people what was going on until they got there. Have you guys ever gotten like a party full or an evite and people like, oh yeah, I'm going, and then the day of comes and they're just like, I don't really want to fucking go. Like, I'm guessing that's what happened. I mean, like I said, guys, I don't even think they can be resentful or can't be bothered with it because they didn't know. Like, the only people who have the chance of being resentful are the people that went and were like, what the fuck?